Greetings, user. Neural link established. Ready for takeoff.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OS World Cup 2020. We have returned from our hiatus to bring you yet another match up today. We have Romania versus Norway. Two more teams. This will be the matchup to decide the opponent for the United States next round. And the loser of this match will go down to face Malaysia. We have a matchup later. We'll have Germany versus Turkey after. But right now, a very exciting one. I am joined once again by this one guy. Welcome back.
Hey, welcome back. Good to be here still for another exciting match. I am hyped for this one for sure. We've got a good match on our hands.
I think we have two very solid teams this year, a couple of good trades in terms of rosters for both sides, but a strong one nonetheless. We have Romania and Norway. This is the closest matchup on paper, being the 16th and 17th seeded teams. Given qualifier seeding, both of these putting up strong performances there, but a lot of standout names on both of these teams here.
Yeah, I think, anyone who's familiar with the tournament scene, who watched OWC 2019 especially, they'll recognize a lot of names on these rosters. Huge names in the tournament scene like Badu, Maxim Bogdan, Eternum, Yokespie, GN. Really, really well-known players on both sides in this one, with a lot of very diverse skill sets. I think this is one of the coolest matchups in terms of what kind of skills the players bring to the table, and for that reason, it is one of the most fascinating matchups I think we're going to get to see this round, coming at a great time here towards the end. A very exciting one to get to witness here.
Yeah, we had some close qualifiers performance on a couple of areas for both of these teams here, but it was very surprising that, past a certain point, they were decently separated. Nomad for both of these countries being very contested, Romania being the 20th ranked and Nomad, Norway the 16th. The big standouts, however, is going to be today. Romania was the 9th seeded DT team, and Norway was the 7th seeded hidden team. So they clearly have some pretty big strong suits on both sides here today that they're going to maybe look forward to as we get into this match. But the qualifiers pool, I think, on average, maybe just a little bit more difficult than some of these picks in here. So we'll see how it turns out with the difference in maps.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see the strategy these two teams bring to the table in terms of the bans and the picks that they go for. We see immediately Romania banning out hidden number 1, for instance, because to expect Norway to be a very good hidden and reading and gimmick team. So, the thing that's going to stand out to me, I think, in this one is what skill sets the teams kind of try to lean into. As you said, Romania doing very well in double time in qualifiers, which is a skill set that one normally doesn't so much associate with Norway. Their star players like Yokespie and GN not really known as DT players. So I think that strategy of what they go for is going to be interesting. And we do see Norway banning out a double time, picking double time 1 as their ban, Shiori, the most standard of those DT picks. So already kind of getting into very logical bans for the two teams and pretty much what you'd expect in that phase of this match.
Yeah, Norway, they have a decent amount of this pool to work with here. And I think there's a lot that could favor them in terms of playing here. They're definitely going to look towards the hidden today. That's their strong point. It has generally been their strong point. They run really well with that. But they're also surprisingly a good free mod team. They're going to stick with the hidden too. So very conventional first pick, but Norway this year, they've definitely rounded out their lineup a little bit more. And I think Nomad and free mod are going to be more viable for them this year. As well as the fact that there's some pretty decent aimers on the side of Norway now. They got Marcus, Yokespie, and Melver in right now, who are known for having some pretty decent aims with the Hard Rock. Good for them here. Romania probably going to look towards the speed.
Yeah, you see a name like Badu and you don't immediately think speed, but when you consider the rest of the Romania roster and what they're capable of, it would not be at all surprising to see them going into that skill set. And I do think that Romania in general has kind of the higher skill cap overall. I do think their top end players are a little bit stronger than the top players from Norway. So to see Norway go into kind of the gimmickier types of maps, whereas Romania will maybe opt into more mechanics, is I think the expectation for this matchup. Maybe a little surprising to see the AR8 hidden left up here by Romania, favoring the hidden 1 ban over hidden 2, leaving that up for Norway for their first pick. But I think it's something that Romania will be fine at. You know, Badu obviously is one of the best reading players in the game, so he'll be able to match up with anybody on Norway, and they've got other players who'll be able to fill in for this type of map as well.
Yeah, you kind of have the... I think Norway has, you know, kind of that star factor coming into this match with a lot of those known players that you can't really forget the name of. I mean, like, players like GN and, you know, even Badu for Romania. Those are names that just stick out so much on both of these teams. And if you're in the tournament scene, there are a lot of other players here that you will certainly recognize. And there's a lot of AR8 ability on both of these teams here. But, you know, we really have to favor this towards Norway, given previous performances on Hidden and the fact that their placement in qualifiers was just so high in Hidden. This seemingly, if all goes right for them, should be a very, very solid, confident first pick.
Yeah, I think Norway got exactly what they wanted here for the first pick of the match, and they're going to look to put up a very strong performance that I think is probably going to be something that we'll see near the top of the leaderboard for this round on this hidden 2 pick. Going to be starting things off, Chiu, Afterwind, Badu, Eternum, facing off against Marcus, Yokespy, Melver, and GN, first pick. Seeing Melver missing a few notes in the early stage there on that first combo, but Afterwind and Eternum finding misses of their own. This is a map that you can actually kind of int relatively easily because it is fairly low BPM streams, which combined with the fact that it's AR8 are quite tricky. Already several misses from multiple players, leaving Norway in an early lead.
You can really tell who the players are that kind of main this style of map right here. Norway running with Yokespy, who just kind of eats these maps up. But again, Romania has Badu, as we mentioned, probably one of the best low AR reading players in the world, who is kind of just running through with this with a double S, making it look like it is easy. There's 2 breaks on the side of Romania for Chiu and Eternum again, which is going to leave Norway with a, we'll say it's a 3-2 FC lead, just because Afterwind is basically full comboing. He had a very early break, but, you know, Badu with that double S right now is holding off Yokespy, but GN's FC is going to be offsetting Afterwind, and Marcus is essentially an extended combo for them with very good accuracy as well. Melver starting to finally build up a combo, so...
Yeah, Melver's cursor looking quite shaky, though. I am surprised he's managing to maintain his combo, and there it goes. He is having a little bit of a rough go of things compared to the rest of his team, but fortunately, the 3-way FC, you know, Marcus is a player that I don't think gets talked about enough, and, you know, the community tournament scene obviously is a recognized name. Of course, he does break as I say that, but he is very, very strong, especially on these early round picks. He's not, you know, maybe the greatest late round player, but he is a very strong early round player. But Marcus and Melver both having some trouble. Fortunately for them, Eternum finding a break. However, there is plenty of combo on the side of Romania. That double FC almost matched, I should say, by Badu and Afterwind. But Yokespy and GN just doing enough for a very close early pick there. So not quite as one-sided as you might have expected. The double FC from Yokespy and GN, though, did pull through Badu with the 1x100. I think that's going to be the best play we'll see on that map. But just not quite enough backing him up from Romania, and that's going to be about a 92,000 point victory for the first pick for Norway. Very close, but they do emerge with the win on map 1.
Like, very solid from Team Norway as an overall team performance there. Melver kind of struggling on that, but I imagine he was more of a fill for this map. Norway just getting a 4th player in there to make sure that they could hold off what Romania put up there. But that score from Badu right there, that is... in my mind, impossible to beat for almost every single player in this tournament. That 1x100 play is just so rare to see, and it really shows just how comfortable he is on maps like this. And I think, you know, Romania had all the opportunity in the world there. We mentioned under 100,000 score difference on that pick, so Norway certainly not taking that by a comfortable amount, but they were able to bring it into the end with a lot of later breaks. And we saw something very similar earlier today with in the UK versus Chile, where it was just really strong scores until the ending of the map, where the combos just drop off. And, you know, we've seen it more today than we have in previous matches this weekend. but a lot of the late breaks really almost costing teams here today. But we're going to go back to Romania now. They're going to have their opportunity to get themselves on the board with their first pick here. I imagine they'll go for DT, and there's the DT2 pick immediately from Badu as we say that. I think they have a strong lineup. I think even though Badu may be not recognized as a primarily speed-oriented player, definitely has the speed to back his team up, especially when he's running with players like Eternum and Roly on his team, where there is just so much speed. I don't know if they'll have to run with Badu just because they have so many new players that are good at this here. And Romania is going to have a good chance to get themselves on the board pretty early here, keeping this even.
Yeah, I think there's actually a chance that Badu just doesn't play this map because the rest of his team has players who can come in for it. And it's the sort of skill set that I think with the rest of that roster in mind, they're going to be much stronger than Norway at. Obviously Norway planned out their ban. They banned the double time number 1, so they did knowingly leave this up, which, maybe that speaks to them feeling like they can put up a decent performance on it. But yeah, I think this DT is one that's more favored toward Romania. I think DT3 is a little bit more of a toss-up since it's more finger control oriented rather than raw speed. But we will see how things go. With this being the first pick from Romania, you've got to expect it to be something that they're going to feel very, very good about. This has been one of the most popular maps this round as well, so not surprising to see it again. And we're going to get underway here. It's going to be Roly, Afterwind, Christy2708, and Eternum for Romania. They'll be up against CompV, Fiel, Melver, and Nielsen for Norway on the first pick here for the Romanian side.
Good lineups for both of these teams here. Some nice additions to Norway. I mentioned before the match started. They have definitely rounded themselves out much more than they have in previous years on speed picks, so they will be able to contend a little bit more, especially with a lot of very early breaks. We're obviously going to get the little DT lag at the beginning as it fixes itself after this first pause. So we'll get everyone nice and synced up. But Romania running with players like Eternum on this is essentially a guaranteed FC a lot of the time. Eternum is just so comfortable on maps like this, and Roly, a great player to be able to back him up there. Christie's early break was Bancho. Comfy, looking pretty comfortable on this, and Melver to back him up.
That was really bad.
I had to.
We did actually have an early break from Afterwind for Romania, but Comfy does show up with the miss for Norway, so he was holding the SS and no longer. We're going to go to the first Ki with a break from Melver as well as him, so 2 FCs, all that's left for Norway now, 3 FCs, and 1 near FC for Romania. They will be able to maybe extend out a little bit of a lead here in this first Ki section. They're looking pretty strong so far. Very high accuracy on Eternum. I think that's 100, maybe 2?
Yeah. That's very low for Eternum there. He is just going to be the player to keep your eyes on. Eternum is easily the best speed player running for Romania in this match. Afterwind, a little bit behind his team in terms of combo at that early break, but it's not really going to matter because his accuracy is running above Melver's, who is the next closest to him besides Nielsen in terms of FCs. But it's 2 FCs to 3 technically right now, but Afterwind's combo alone is matching what Comfy and Melver are putting up. But there's a big break.
Christy. You're gonna watch out for Melver. He is shaking really, really badly. This break is a big help for him, but he is shaking horribly. I would not be surprised to see him have some trouble with the last Ki, considering how bad those shakes are when these streams come back in. Fiel and Nielsen still feeling pretty comfortable, but Eternum and Roly are matching them, and Afterwind matching Comfy and Melver as well. So just Christy a bit behind, but I think Romania is in a good spot here into this ending.
How is Melver still comboing? This is absolutely insane. He is really... I feel like this has gone beyond the point of shaking. This is like jittering at this point. There's not a lot of time left in the map, and there goes Afterwind and Melver.
Afterwind and Melver as well. Still the 2 FCs matching for Roly and Eternum against Fiel and Nielsen. Comfy with the big combo at the end, but just not going to end up being enough. It'll end up being pretty close, though. I mean, this is looking like it's going to end up under 100,000 points. And it does, about 95,000 points. So 2 very close opening picks for the teams. On their own first pick, they do both win their first pick, but they are both under 100K. So clearly a very close matchup here. I'm amazed by Melver able to keep that combo up as long as he did, but the ACK from Eternum, man, 3x 100, very impressive. Fiel, not far behind, only 8 100s from him. So some very good performances, just a little bit better backing score from Romania.
It's already very impressive. You know, we mentioned before Badu putting up probably the highest single player score on Hidden 2 in the previous pick. Now Eternum, I'd say this is probably the top, if not one of the top DT single player scores on this map here. So Romania really seems to be running with a lot of like singular players that are just the best at what these maps are. And I think it's really just coming down to how well their teammates can back them up. Norway had a lot of backing combo on the Hidden, and Romania, just the overall consistency on this DT. Norway had such an opportunity to bring that back as well at the ending. They had a really high overall team combo, and they just kind of ran out of time at the ending there. But we're going to keep going back and forth between these two teams. Definitely know what they are strong at, but it's kind of funny. Even though Romania is favored towards DT and Norway might be favored towards the reading, they're very similar teams. If you look at their overall rosters, they definitely have some players that you could be like, yeah, this kind of matches up here, and then we can put this player for this player. So very similar on paper if you really look down deep.
Yeah, I think that's part of what makes this matchup so close, is that some of these skill sets these players hold are so similar. Lots of players who are very good at reading and gimmicky type of stuff. As we said, I think Romania a little better on the top end mechanics, but the fact that Norway was able to keep that speedy DT pick within 100,000 points shows that at least on these early picks, they are very strong. And we are going to get the early Nomad 1 pick here from Norway. I am a little surprised by that, an aim pick as their second selection of this match here against a Romania squad that has some really strong aim players.
So I think Romania running with like the known strong aim players here. I mean, you have players like Eternum, Rolly, and Badu in right now that are just known for this. And Afterwind's certainly nothing to scoff at as well. But I definitely think they're running on the fact that Badu's aim style lies very heavily in gimmick and very awkward aim. And this is more big jump consistency. And I think when you're running with players like Yokespai and Fiel, and I imagine GN will be coming in for this, we've seen, even though the accuracy might suffer on the side of Norway in terms of jump maps, and we've seen a lot of countries drop quite a bit of accuracy, even countries like the United States who played the other day losing so much accuracy at the beginning of this map. It's really all down to who can hold the combo. And if you come from community tournaments, Yokespai is very good at holding a combo. So
yeah, he is definitely a player who is known for prioritizing combo over accuracy in many cases. And it works out for him a lot of the time. Combo is a huge aspect of your score. So, making that priority is understandable and ends up working out just fine. But Badu, for my money, one of the best raw aim players in the game. I mean, definitely up there with some of the greats. You see all those, all the clips, right? Badu hits a thing. Reddit's favorite title, Badu hits a thing. So with this being only a 6.3 star aim map, I think he's going to be quite comfortable. And he's a player who will be capable of, I think, keeping his accuracy up as well, since he's so good at kind of awkward rhythms. So I think both teams have players who are going to be really strong on this one.
Yeah, there's one very big jump section before the first Ki that has traditionally caught a lot of players out, even good aim players and some of the best. And there goes Badu with a very early miss.
Man, I called it through the intro too. That first 50 combo, he had an SS and everybody else was at 97, 98% maximum. And then he just misses. That's so sad. But it's a 4-minute long Nomad 1, so plenty of time for that combo to be built back up.
Just trying to find his comfortability here. He's definitely not coming off of a similar aim style map. I'm not entirely sure what he was practicing or playing in between the two previous picks, but he did not play the DT, which means he is, if nothing else, coming from an AR8 streamy hidden map to an aim Nomad, which is a pretty big difference. But he's holding his own right now. He's the highest accuracy on his team, even with the miss.
Highest accuracy total, in fact, higher accuracy than Yokespai, who was the next highest. So Badu making me look like maybe a little bit of a profit here. Hopefully he'll keep his combo up. But very small lead in favor of Romania despite that Badu break because of their somewhat higher accuracy. It's pretty similar across the board, but they do have 3 players at or above 99%, while Norway only has 1. And there's a break from Melver in a pretty bad spot here as we're about to go into the next Ki.
Yeah, that's that first big key eye section there that a lot of players we've seen break on. It's not the biggest jumps ever, and this jump is the big section here, and Melver does break there as well. Yolkspie really solid on the accuracy right now. I know we mentioned, prioritizing combo game, but he is really showing off right now. GN and Fiel are very decent backing combos. Unfortunately, Melver just so far behind now that Romania is taking a massive score gap slowly.
Yeah, Nora with that Melver drop score, I mean, that's about, 80,000 points just on that one player versus the other players with their FCs. So that's going to be a big detriment. We are going to about reach the halfway point, and once again, Melver shaking. That must just be part of his play style at this point, but I don't know how he deals with it. We'll see what happens as we get into more jumps, because that aim is going to be harder and harder to control the more he shakes.
Yeah, this is, interesting to see the different play styles on this map as well. The majority of the players that are still holding full combo for both teams are actually alternating this map, which is interesting to see for an early round Nomad 1 at 192 BPM. There goes Melver again. Unfortunately, Norway, they're looking so strong on this Nomad pick here, but Melver just not able to compete, unfortunately. I think his shakes are just getting the best of him right now. The nerves really taking a big effect because his accuracy is not actually that bad. But even then, Romania's overall team accuracy, they're 99% plus on every single player. And their highest accuracy player is the only one that's not FCing, which is keeping him right in line with his teammates right now.
Yeah, this is a great team performance from Romania. And honestly, other than Melver, it's a great team performance from Norway as well. This is an absolutely fine pick from them. Unfortunately, just Melver's score falling 300,000 points to even more than that behind. As you said, and there goes Yolkspie as well, so that's probably going to seal the deal even with that break from after win for Romania. The one player can make a big difference if everybody else is FCing, and his accuracy would be so good without those misses too. It's very unfortunate for Melver that he had those breaks, but Romania looks like they're going to be able to take this one. They'll get an early break point here, and this is just a great showing from really all of their members. Even after win with that late miss is still going to put up a very solid score.
Yeah, this is just looking really good for Romania here at the end. Norway just letting it slip away a little bit in the earlier parts of the map there, and Melver just not quite able to match up there, but you have your good days, you have your bad days, and then the certain maps that you just can perform on. And unfortunately, today was not Melver's day. His accuracy actually very good. One of the higher accuracies on his team, almost hitting 99%. But I think it was just the placement of his misses. They were just so spaced out that he wasn't really able to build up a combo. And, as much as combo game is not the biggest part of this, it is certainly a massive portion. And only being able to get your max combo up to about a third of the total is detrimental to your score, him being about half the score of everyone else. So Norway's going to let a breakpoint slip away early on a pick that, could have been good for them, but definitely was a little bit questionable going up against Romania, picking the Nomad 1 aim map. And Romania is going to have their opportunity to kind of run away with this now if they're able to pick up their own pick here.
Yeah, this has been such a huge thing we've seen throughout a lot of these matches where, a team will go up 2-1, have their own pick go up 3-1, and that's just such a good spot to be in. You're absolutely in the driver's seat at that point in the match. So Romania, I'm sure, going to find a pick that they're good at. I'm expecting potentially even a Hard Rock here, but potentially a Nomad as well. There's a lot of options for a team like that, depending on how they feel on the given day, but maybe something like Hard Rock 2, and that is going to be the pick. So it's going to be Eve. They are going to go into the precision aim with our CS 6.5 Hard Rock here with Eve. That is, I think, a very good pick for Romania, a team who has some players who are quite good at the precision aim with the small circle skill of guys like Badu. I mean, he's going to be the one you're going to point out a lot of the time as he is the star player for that roster. But he is just really, really good at this sort of thing, as are several other players from that country. So I think this is a very good pick for them.
Yeah, this will be good to roll through for Romania here, just to kind of test the waters on all the different mods today. Make sure they have all of their entrances and exits covered. And, we mentioned Badu a lot. There's a lot of backing for Romania this year. You have players like Rolly and Eternum, very good aim player as well. Christie, a little bit less known of a player, but very solid on the aim. A new player, I believe, for Romania. I don't remember, Christy, from last year, unless I'm forgetting, or a name change, but known a little bit more throughout single-player scores rather than community tournaments or tournaments in general. But a solid choice for this map, and Romania just has so much coverage in the different mod picks that it's very hard to catch them off on something. Norway has a lot of good aim players, maybe not necessarily on a CS 6.5 Hard Rock. This requires a lot of precision, but when you're running with a lot of known aim players on both sides, especially players like, Fiel, Kevzi, Yokespai, and Nielsen, it's such an interesting lineup when you get into the actual map. It's cool to see where the players are finding the breaks, because they're not always in the conventional spots.
Yeah, whenever you see a CS 6.5, unless you're a player like a Badu or a Kingling or someone like that who is known for their precision aim, you can miss almost anywhere. It's so easy to miss on tiny circles like these. So got to be very careful, got to keep good control. And I think that might be why we're seeing Melver going out for this one. That shaky aim, I don't think would fare very well on a map like this. So one roster swap there for Norway that was very expected. To your point earlier, I will note that Christie did play last year's OWC, just in case anybody was wondering. He played 2019, did not play previously, did not play 2018, but he was on the team last year that had that solid run. But we'll get into the map, and we'll see how Romania's pick goes here. They looked pretty good on their first one, even though it only was 100,000 points difference. They looked very good on Nomad 1, but this is a quite different skill set than what we've seen before. And it's going to start off with an early break from BL for Norway.
Yeah, this will be a little bit of a rocky start for Norway here. Definitely not the team picked for the high CS here. But Eternum finding an early break as well is actually going to give combo lead to Norway. They're going to stay in the back for score for now just because of the accuracy, but it's going to slowly catch up as Fiel has about an 80 combo lead over Eternum right now. And there goes Christie as well, so Norway now with a very decent combo lead.
And Rolly is gone too, the only combo left now on Badu. Norway is going to run with this one. Do we see a back-to-back break point happening here as Christie finds another miss? Nielsen finds the second break for Norway, but they still have the FCs. Yokespai and it's Kevzi both holding on. This is going to get quite interesting. Nielsen is kind of not a factor at this point. He's only, 100k behind. He is still ahead of the score of Christie's, ahead of the score of Rolly. So it's a long road ahead here for Romania, and Norway's got a lot of combo still.
Yeah, Yokespai and Kevzi still on the FCs, matching Badu and besting him with that extra FC, and Fiel outscoring Eternum with the early break. Eternum does have a little bit of an accuracy advantage though, but there goes Fiel. So now here's the opportunity with Nielsen breaking. Romania's starting to build up a lot of combo again now, and this score line could slowly creep back over. You see it starting to move towards the left, but the time is running out with Norway.
There's a break from Eternum. That might have just sealed the deal. Kevzi breaking near the end, but I think it's late enough not to matter. I don't think there's a way for Romania to bring this one back. This is going to be back-to-back break points. It's going to be another very close map, though. Just a score gap of 100,000, but a great performance from Norway. Not a team that I would have expected to come in and take a precision name pick off of Romania, but the FC from Yokespai matching Badu. The other combo is just a little bit stronger, and that is a tied match 2-2 on the break point.
I don't know if we made note of it, but Yokespai on the top and the center there, something I see very rarely from him. He was shaking quite a bit on those ending jumps there. Maybe, got to see the scoreboard a little bit before the map ended in a very surprising break point for them. He put up some of the best accuracy I've actually seen him put up on a CS 6.5 Hard Rock in a while. Trying to go up against players like Eternum and Badu on a Hard Rock pick is very difficult to match that accuracy, and he was a very, very big factor for Norway in that point there, and a very, very needed break point for them after letting up Nomad 1. This is going to get them right back in this match on their own pick, no less. If Norway continues with this, and we just go back and forth on these picks here, this could be the first tiebreaker we see this round, or since the Russia.
It was Ukraine versus South Korea. Was the only tiebreaker we've seen so far. Yeah, this is we talked about this matchup being so close, especially with this early round pool, and so that being the direction we're heading in is not surprising to me. And we are going to get the free mod pick now. I think we kind of made mention of the fact that free mod was an expected mod pool for both of these teams to go into. So BS Power Explosion, I think, being a very logical pick here for Norway. We've got players who are quite comfortable on either mod on this, as does Romania, so this should be another contested pick.
Yeah, this was definitely something I think that both of these teams have a lot of mod coverage. We talk about the specific skill sets of these players a lot, but there is just so much, malleability with these teams here, and you hit a lot of these experienced tournament players where they have just, even though they have their mod that they kind of stick out in, you gotta force yourself to be able to be comfortable with a lot of different mods, being a prominent community tournament player. And when you have players like, Badu and Yokespie, who you see all the time, they are really able, even though they have their main skill set lying in that reading and gimmick, to take a lot of different aspects here. And both of these teams, it'll be interesting to see what mods they end up running with. I think Romania is going to be a little bit more obvious, with Eternum most likely taking Hard Rock and Badu maybe running the hidden for them. But Norway, I feel like there's just so much opportunity for them to change up their mods here that I think, with GN in, it probably more solidifies the fact that he's going to run with the hidden today, but the Hard Rock kind of floating around there.
I think it's Kevzy, right? After the last pick. I would not be surprised to see him being the Hard Rock player in this. He did come in for Eve on Hard Rock and put up a very good score. So I would not be surprised if he's the Hard Rock player. We have also noted that certain teams have run overmods on this. So we would not be surprising to see some extra mods here and there. Somebody like Yokespie, who's so good at hidden, they could run like a double hidden with a Hard Rock and then maybe one no mod. Similarly for Romania, I think they could potentially look to run 2 Hard Rocks and a hidden as well. But we'll get to find out here as we load in. And it's going to be, looks like, the overmod in a big way for Norway. All 4 players running mods: Kevzy and Fiel, Hard Rock, GN, and Yokespie hidden. Romania going for the minimal mods: Hard Rock on Christie, hidden on Afterwind, Badu and Eternum, the no mod players. So they kind of roll with that top players running no mod strat, whereas Norway, with this being their pick, go for the big overmod. We'll see if that works out for them. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. You just don't know. And it all depends on how comfortable a given player is with the mod on this type of map.
We've seen a lot of good overmodding on this map, and I think most teams that do it are generally pretty comfortable, bar a couple of unfortunate misses. But, there goes a tournament with the no mod, so that's a big combo lost. You really, if you're running no mod on your top players, you're really putting a lot of trust in them to get a guaranteed FC here, not running with a mod here. But Badu definitely pulling his weight with that double S still and Afterwind on the hidden, and Christie with 99%, but Norway so strong overall. I definitely am not surprised to see an overmod from them, especially on their own pick. I'm sure they're comfortable with it. And GN and Yokespie are definitely the type of people that I would expect to be more comfortable on an AR9 pick with hidden on. Kevzy just kind of rolling through with the Hard Rocker right here, 99.4, and Christie as well, 99.25.
There is the break from Kevzy, though. That's the first miss from Norway, and it came at a pretty inopportune time as we're right about halfway through. That score gap is going to come over to Romania as they have a big combo lead now, heading into the middle portion of the map. This rhythm does not really let up on you very much. The alternating triples and quints coming through. And there's a break from Christie, though, so that is another FC gone for Romania. Norway will be able to hold on to the lead. Triple FC against 2 FCs and one big combo. It's going to take another miss from Norway now if Romania wants to have a chance at a comeback in this in the last third.
Yokespie really shaking more than I traditionally see him shake on some of these more mid-match picks here. But Norway with
GN,
that's a big break.
He fell off that entire stream. That was a bunch of accuracy dropped as well as his combo. There is some time left here for Romania to make up this score gap, and Christie and Eternum have both recovered quite well from the earlier misses. Score should be shifting over here, especially with Badu and Afterwind still holding those FCs.
Going so far over to Romania's side right at the end here. There's gonna be enough time, unless there's a big break from Romania here.
That's a big break.
Eternum broke. That's gonna give it away to Norway at the last second.
Oh my! It happened right at that last moment. 20,000 points. Oh, Eternum just had to hold through the last 20 combo, and he would have brought that back. But unfortunately, it was not to be. And Norway, with the double FC from Fiel and Yokespie, are able to hang on. And they take the 3-2 lead. Another incredibly close map. We have had no shortage of those in this matchup, and despite the 3-way S rank for Romania, just not quite enough for them. Maybe wishing they'd had Badu on a mod, because that could have made the difference.
20,000 score difference between those two teams right there, and it was quite literally all on that last miss from Eternum. Unfortunately for him, he held so well after that first initial break, and right at the end there was just enough time. And the problem was the score lead went over to Romania, but goodness, it was maybe only by 3,000 or 4,000. It had just flickered over to their side, so there was absolutely zero room. I think even a couple of hundreds at the end there might have even pushed it towards Norway again. But that break right at the ending, the score lost on Scorby too from finding a break that late and that many, just loses so much in the end there. And Norway with the consistent overall performance and that 4 mod really working out for them. Any one player without a mod could have let that 20,000 score up.
I was gonna say that overmod ended up actually paying dividends for them. One less mod on Norway or one more mod on Romania with the exact same performances, and Romania would have taken the point, which is why I was a bit surprised to see only the 2 mods on Romania, because that's not a super difficult map. But Norway pulling out the strats and making it work at that last second. Now, we're gonna go back into another speedy pick though. We're going to see Nomad 5 as the selection from Romania. We saw that DT pick a little bit earlier on from them that they won on their first point. So this is another map, you know, it's at that 220 BPM. That's something we think that Romania is a little stronger on. And maybe another point. They've lost a couple in a row here, though. They're going to need this one if they want to avoid falling behind a match point.
This is going to be a strong pick for Romania, I think, if they continue their trend of being good at the DT maps here. This speed map, you know, even catching some of the best speed players on this weekend. And, you know, being 3 minutes and 43 seconds long, this is not short by any means. So there is a little bit of breaking room for players here, but traditionally been about those big FCs into the end of this map here. I think, what was it, Bubbleman put up the 1x100 on this map earlier today, so... Was this his 4x100 map? It was one of them.
Yeah, this was Bubbleman's 1x100. He was on an absolute rampage. We'll see if anybody in this match can try to live up to that score. I don't know that anyone is quite up to Bubbleman's level on this, and now already the only person left who can do it is Christy2708, and now there is no chance. All right, there are already more hundreds than Bubbleman had on literally every single player. These are two teams that not quite as strong with this skill set perhaps as the United Kingdom, and especially not as strong as Bubbleman. But the early accuracy advantage in favor of Romania. We've talked about Norway not being super great at speed, and you can see some of their players having a little trouble with the accuracy, just trying to keep their combo up. It is still an 8-way full combo, so anything can happen. I believe Eternum might have missed in about the first 15 combo, in fact, with a slider break perhaps. But still, we're going to remain very close, just the accuracy separating teams right now. As Nielsen and Rolly trade breaks going into the first break in the map. Again, very long, 3 minutes and 43 seconds. There is a lot of time for anything to happen on this pick.
Yeah, that break is essentially nullified as well. Nielsen and Rolly basically with the same accuracy overall, which means both of them break. But Eternum's break, that's big, because that's later. That's a slider break for him at about a quarter way through the map. And something to note about Norway, they did sub Melver out for this map. They're running a new lineup for the speed versus what they had on the DT here, hoping to put up a little bit more combo, and it seems to be working. GN, Biel, and Comfy still on the FCs. And it's the 2 breaks, Rolly and Eternum, just Nielsen for Norway, but we're still not at the halfway point of the map yet, which means that there's plenty of time to recover combo, but that also means that that's longer for Norway to run with this 3-way FC.
And one thing to note here, Romania bringing in Luci Bucci for the first time, and he is currently putting up the best score in the lobby, 99% accuracy, the only one at 99 plus. Nielsen does find another break, but still the 3-way FC for Norway. But Romania is going to rely a lot on Luci Bucci at this point. It looks like he is their best performer for this pick so far. Still a small lead, though, for Norway as he breaks. Luci Bucci, I'm sorry I mentioned your name, man. All me, my bad. Comfy, though, does come back with a break of his own for Norway, so it is not going to be the end of the world there for Romania, but the BLGN double FC still doing a lot of work here for Norway as we go just past the halfway mark.
Norway needs to be very careful right now. They have 2 FCs on the board, and Romania only has 1, but those combos from Eternum and Rolly completely offsetting one of those FCs. The combined score of both of those players into the ending here, if they hold the FCs, is going to be enough to pull this back to Romania's side, because the accuracy on GN and Christie, very close, 1% difference. Lucci finding a break, however, is going to, kind of offset the time required for Romania to bring this back. But with a quarter of the map left, Eternum and Rolly still holding, and Christie offsetting an FC from Norway, this is fully comebackable with any break from Norway right here. The score line is going to be so close.
Yeah, and this ending is quite tricky. The last couple hundred combo of this map, there are plenty of places where you can find breaks. Fiel and GN absolutely have to hold on and hope that Comfy and Nielsen can hold on as well behind them. Those two FCs making the difference. So for the moment for Norway, they maintain about 100,000 point lead, but that can change in an instant. But we're coming very close to the ending here. We're running out of time here for Romania. Norway looking as comfortable as can be still. Those two FCs holding on just fine. They might just be able to do this and emerge with another break point here. We're getting into the very ending, and there are no breaks from Norway. They're going to take this point, and it's going to be another break point. That's going to be 3 picks in a row for Norway, and they are now at match point with their own pick to come. Who would have seen this coming?
That was the performance of the day from Norway there. Completely against all odds, I think, stacked against them on a speed pick. Eternum with 99.59%, just barely dropping his FC from the beginning on that slider break there. Quite literally the difference on Romania here was just a couple of one miss and slider break plays, unfortunately for them, just letting that slip through their fingers at the ending there. And Fiel and GN, Fiel is very solid at the speed, but GN, probably the player that the least amount of people would have expected to almost top score for Team Norway on a speed no-mod pick, but he is really just proving that, his experience is really just going to carry him through this match right here. GN, one of the older players on Team Norway here. He's been around for quite a while, and he's really showing off that all-rounder skill that he has in this match, saying, no, I am going to push my team to the victory in this. And Norway have already forced match point now. Romania need 2 picks in a row if they even want to attempt tiebreaker here, and they have to do it on Norway's pick, no less.
This is a really rough spot to be in now if you're Romania. A little bit of a mispick maybe on that No-Mod 5. It could have gone either way, right? Like you alluded to, if Eternum had not found those early slider breaks, his score wouldn't have been enough to make the difference in favor of Romania, but it was just not to be. And now this is a big pick here for Norway. I don't know what necessarily to expect them to go into. Maybe it's a No-Mod 3 or a No-Mod 4. The alt map or the tech map in the No-Mod pool, but it's tricky because a lot of these maps I think are still basically toss-ups, and they're going to go with No-Mod 2 instead. It's going to be Shoujo Kisokyoku, which is very much a stream map that is not all that difficult. And if there's anything we just learned from the No-Mod 5 pick, it's that Norway is better at these types of maps than we would have expected.
Yeah, Norway running really strong on the streams today, and something very important to note about this No-Mod 2, it is less heavy on the stamina and the BPM, and it's a little bit more focused on the stream velocities here, and we've seen a lot of players get caught up by either under-aiming or over-aiming these streams, just going slightly too fast or slow, and it does catch up a lot of even the best stream players on something like this, so it's important to note that this really goes either way for this map. And when you're Norway and you're coming off of the high of winning a very streamy no-mod speed pick, you might as well roll out with, the slightly lower BPM no-mod 2. The streams are a little bit more consistent, but Norway been looking really consistent today overall. This might be really good for them, but Romania has been putting up some very good performances to back it, just very slightly underperforming on a couple of picks compared to what Norway's been putting up. So they still have the opportunity to stay in this on Norway's pick, and if they win this, they are back to their own. So, Romania has all the opportunity in the world right now. The ball is in their court, and they just have to keep it.
It's an interesting pick. I think, again, we've said so many of these maps are just absolute toss-ups. I feel like it's hard to favor either one of these teams on many of these maps. Norway, what I think they're doing a very good job of here is they're keeping Badu out of the equation You know, Romania picked Nomad 5, which he wasn't in for. Then Norway picks Nomad 2, which he's also not in for. And as we've said, Badu is probably the highest individual skill cap player in this match. So not having him in is a huge deal. Romania forced to play with 4 other very good players, but not, you know, kind of their specialist, absolute, you know, all-round God mode except for speed player, I guess. So Norway have a little bit of the advantage there, and they are coming off of a win on the stream pick. So we're just going to see if they can maintain that.
Yeah, Norway have to be very careful because there were 2 very unfortunate breaks, the 1 miss and the 1 slider break from Eternum and Rolly on that previous pick. And if they improve from that in any fashion here, Norway is going to be given a significant amount of trouble here in terms of accuracy, given Romania's, you know, current stance with Eternum still double S-ing. This is a map that he is fantastic at something, so he will be a very big factor for Romania in this right now. And Yulson looking to try and offset that for Norway with the highest accuracy, but still in the favor of Romania accuracy alone. It's going to come down to whoever finds the first break.
Yeah, and this is, again, a decently long map. It's 3 minutes, plenty of combo, and you wonder a little bit as well if nerves are going to start to play a bit of a factor. We get into these deeper stages of the match where it's match point. You're on the 7th map being played. There's a little bit of the nerves and the stamina of the whole match and the pressure of the situation maybe coming into play a little bit. But so far, nobody really looking like they're shaking too badly, but that's a break from Comfy. That's going to be the first miss on any player. The 4-way still being maintained by Romania, but now down to 3 for Norway.
Yeah, this is really looking good for Romania right now. Eternum is just shredding this map up, and Comfy, unfortunately, just got shredded by that stream right there. That was a lot of misses, which on Score V2 is really big. That's a lot of score lost. You can see he's already 100,000 behind the rest of his team now, unfortunately. But there's also not much you can do about this. Romania still holding 4 FCs on the board with very, very good accuracy after when the only one struggling. But it is more than made up by Eternum and Christie on that high accuracy. And there goes Nilsson as well for Norway. And that is going to leave almost no opportunity to come back, unfortunately, with only a quarter of the map left to go.
Yeah, it's 300,000 points in the lead for Romania now. It would take basically a full combo reset for Norway to have any sort of chance in this one. You know, this was a pick that made sense at the time, but a little bit risky as well because it is not one of the more difficult maps in the pool. And it's something that clearly Romania feels very good on. Eternum still maintaining that 1x100 play. Christie and Rolly just a bit behind. Afterwind struggling a little bit with Act, but he's keeping the combo up, and that's what matters the most. And, well, as I say that, he immediately breaks. It is still 3 FCs to 2, though. It's not going to be the end of the world. We're going to come down to the very end of this one, and it looks like it's going to be a break point back here as Thiel finds a last-moment break for Norway. It's going to be a break point back here for Romania. It's going to be 4-3 the score, and they're going to have their own pick to try to send it to a tiebreaker. Now, immediately you are thinking, what is our pick here? What is the best option for us to try and send this on to that 4-4 tie and to the tiebreaker? And that is a tough, tough decision to make.
That is going to be decently difficult for Romania here. A very confident finish there. Eternum 1x100. You absolutely love to see it. That is the performance that we expect to see out of him. Such a consistent stream player, and I think he definitely probably a little bit disappointed by his performance on some of the previous picks that they could have won, but he has certainly made up for it on the Nomad 2 pick here. That is the highest accuracy I think we've seen on this map for this entire round of the tournament. I don't think anyone else has gotten below 2 or 3. So that is just insane from him. And Romania going to look, again, as you mentioned, for that tiebreaker forcing pick here. They have a lot of options, and you know, Norway's been looking good across the board, so it's going to be very hard. They have a DT open here, and Romania normally confident, but they could go back, and they went for the Hard Rock again. They looked very good on Eve, but it was so close into the ending of that, and Romania really needs to be, you know, really confident on this Hard Rock 1 to be able to close this.
Yeah, I mean, Eve did go the way of Norway, but this is a little bit different of a Hard Rock pick. You know, going from that precision aim into something that's a little more about the those bursts that come up a lot, the triples and quints. You know, at a CS, I believe 5.2 rather than 6.5. One thing that I want to note going into the next map, the Nomad 2 that was picked just now by Norway that they lost was lost by 750,000 points. That was by about 300k, the largest margin of victory we've seen in this entire match. does that affect their mental going into what could be a tiebreaker forcing pick here, to know that they had the match on their side, that they got to pick for a potential closer, and they end up losing it by such a vast margin? How does that affect your mental going into the opponent's last pick? You know, you've got to make sure to maintain your calm and consistency, but it's rough when you really get just blown out on a pick like that.
I think what we can hope from Norway right now is that they were picking that map based on their performance solely from Nomad 5, just to see if they could continue, or maybe just to see if Romania would put up a similar performance, because if they did, they'd be able to close it out there. And I think that would be best case scenario for Norway. If that was kind of their stretch pick right there, they just wanted to see if they could close it out on that one. Unfortunately, you know, backfiring for them in the end. And as we come back to Hard Rock, Norway is going to be very hard pressed to put up the same performance that they did on Hard Rock 2. But they looked very good on the aim there, and they've been looking very good on the aim overall today. So Romania definitely has their work cut out for them on this next map here, and they really, you know, quite literally have to win this to force a tiebreaker here in a very, very close match. Romania's last chance.
And this does notably bring Badu back in. You know, I talked about it being a boon to Norway that they didn't have to face him, and then they ended up losing the pick anyway. So we'll see what kind of difference maker he can be. But Rolia, Turnham, and Christie have looked very good throughout this match. Norway rolling with Marcus Fiel, Yokespy, GN, a very strong roster as well. Notably no Kevzy, who was in for the preceding Hard Rock pick as well as playing Hard Rock on the free mod. So a little surprising maybe to see him go out for this particular one. But otherwise, I think kind of the expected rosters for both these teams on a map where you can break a lot of different places. It's tough to be consistent on this one. A lot of people have found misses at very unlucky times, so we're going to hope that everyone can hold through and avoid letting the nerves get to them. At this 3-4, you know, the score gap is not big, and Norway's still on that match point.
GN with that very early break puts him a decent amount of combo behind, and on a 2-minute and 2-second map, that is huge for Romania right now.
Also huge is the accuracy. Fiel at 94%, GN at 95%, 96 on Marcus and Yokespy. A break from Eternum, but it's matched by Yokespy, and the accuracy leads vastly in favor of Romania. 97 Badu, 99 on Christie, 98 on Eternum. The only one struggling with Ak is Roly, and he is still maintaining an FC. So that is going to be a huge help for Romania as well. They're going to build up a bit of a lead on the combo as well as the accuracy lead. So this is going to go into the last third with a 300,000 point lead so far for Romania.
Massive for Romania right now. These three FCs really pushing them in here. GN unfortunately finding another break into the end. He was starting to build up a decent combo, but the accuracy on Romania just continuing to push this in their favor, and this was a smart pick, and there goes all of them.
And Marcus, this one is now over. That just ended the map right there.
Yeah, if it wasn't already fully in the favor of Romania, it certainly is now, and there's finally the full combo reset for Norway with Yokespy breaking in the end. And 3 FCs on Romania into the close here. Christie and Eternum on the accuracy, 98.63 and 98. Eternum actually breaks on that last slider. But a good performance. I
mentioned that Nomad 2 being the most one-sided pick we'd seen so far in the match. Well, that didn't last long. That was the most one-sided map we got to see in the match. 1.2 million points margin of victory for Romania. Hard Rock 1 going the way that they wish Hard Rock 2 had gone, because they would have just won the match if it had. But instead, they do manage to force a tiebreaker, which means we are getting, for the second time this weekend, welcome to the Black Parade. It is time for a tiebreaker at the 4-4 score. We expected this match to be a good one, and it is proving to be just that.
This is going to be an interesting tiebreaker between these two teams. We've seen a lot of good consistency from both sides here, but it's been kind of flickering back and forth on who's performing today, but I imagine the lineups for this are going to bring back those classic consistency lineups, maybe even something similar to what we saw from the Nomad 1 lineups. There's a lot of aim in this tiebreaker. Not a ton, though, but it's, I guess, flowy. Trying to put a finger on, I guess, describing this. But, you know, if you come from community tournaments and you watch a lot of these players and what they're able to put up on maps like this, you hear the term pretty often in a lot of other community tournaments, getting yoke-tied in tiebreaker.
And it's something that we see all too often where Yokespie will kind of just show up and like rock out a tiebreaker like it's nothing. And that could be very big for Norway right now if he's feeling confident. But you're also going up against Romania, who have players like Badu and Rolly and potentially a Turnham playing this that can kind of just roll through these, you know, higher difficulty maps here just because they're so comfortable.
Yeah, it's looking like we might end up seeing Chiu, and who I don't know that we've seen in quite some time, but he was in for the Nomad 1 pick. So that is a player on the side of Romania who they do feel comfortable putting in for AIM maps. Which tiebreaker has some aim to it, and we're gonna be getting underway. So these are the rosters set. It's gonna be Rolly, Badu, Chiu, Christie, the AIM consistency squad for Romania, taking on Marcus, Melver, Yokespie, and Gian. Melver coming in for the first time, I believe, in a while as well, and we had made a lot of note of the fact that he was shaking very badly in some of those early picks, and on a long tiebreaker like this, just about 5 minutes, that could end up coming into play here. That might be something to be concerned about. Also notable, Yokespie running hidden, so a little bit of mod advantage here for Norway, but I don't know that it'll end up mattering. And sing along if you know the words. It is Welcome to the Black Parade.
We are ready. We're ready. It's time for tiebreaker. The second tiebreaker of the weekend. Norway versus Romania. Again, these are the two closest teams out of qualifiers. The 16th and 17th seeded teams, rightfully so, going to tiebreakers. So close in skill sets here. A lot of accuracy drops at the beginning, except for Chiu, who is coming back in to make a statement. Going to try and hold this down for Romania at the beginning on the accuracy. Norway holding that score lead on the hidden on Yokespie right now. And, you know, I mentioned before the map started, I'll say it again, getting Yokespie in tiebreaker is something that happens to all too many people. And it's normally because he has a mod on and just kind of rolls through it. So we'll see what happens there. Romania's looked so strong after they recovered from a lot of extra points lost here. They're going to look to continue that.
This is a very tricky map, honestly, and Melver is going to find the first break, and we are already 350 combo in. This is such a long intro, but, you know, it's hard to act this intro deceivingly difficult in the beginning, and then obviously difficult with the very fast slider velocities and the tricky aim. So that combo is going to be at a premium here, and the accuracy as well. Badu now with the highest stack at 98, and Melver finding another break. I was a little concerned seeing him coming in for this match, or for this map. He's got a lot of time left to go, but he's already shaking, and he is missing all. Oh my goodness, Melver. Oh my dear Melver, I'm so sorry. He has a localized earthquake going on as Gian and Christie trade breaks going into the first verse of the song.
Yeah, this is very unfortunate for Melver. You know, I didn't want to say anything when I saw him come back in because I was going to give the benefit of that. But there goes Marcus as well, so it is not all on Melver right now. It is the entirety of Norway who is just not having a good time at the beginning here. And Romania just looking so strong right now. Yokespie, the only FC left. But, you know, you really did have to be concerned after, you know, they gave Melver a chance to kind of mellow out right here. But, you know, I really hope he's able to pull himself together. There's a break from Rolly, so they're not completely out yet, but he's really just shaking so much on this tiebreaker.
Yeah, this is a really rough spot to be in now for Norway. Halfway through the match, Chiu and Badu still on the double FC, and only Yokespie with the FC. It is the Yokespie method, 96% accuracy, still holding on to the FC, but he's shaking a little bit as well, and his team is crumbling a bit around him. Melver struggling a lot. Another break from him, and Gian and Marcus doing what they can to reestablish some combo. And there goes Yokespie's FC. I don't know that he's going to be carrying on any longer. I think it's going to be Romania welcoming them to the Black Parade here. They are the ones that are going to be in the driver's seat. Chiu finally finds a break, but Badu still holding strong. He is carrying on for Romania, trying to lead them forward in this map and in this tiebreaker.
Yeah, this is going down right now. Chiu finally finds a break, but Badu with 99.35% accuracy and climbing. Rolly finds a break. It really doesn't matter, unfortunately. Norway has fully combo reset. And with Badu still holding an FC and Christie with a massive backing combo right now, going to soon pass even the highest score on Norway of Yokespie with 400,000 right now. Badu is just running this across the finish right now. He is full sprinting this down into the end of the map here, holding through the 1/3 section into the slider as Melver and Chiu find a break. This is it for Norway. Romania coming into the finish of this match so strong after being on a point deficit. Badu shake, hello, what was that, Badu? Okay,
Fortunately,
Badu?
those couple breaks. What is he
Badu?
doing? I'm pretty sure
Hello?
he was trolling. There's no way he wasn't
no
trolling
way.
then. What is he
There's
doing?
Badu? Is he just having a stroke?
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because it's a 500k lead, but I'm not sure what he was doing there.
Hello?
I'm not sure, but man, it's just not going to matter because despite the ending combo here from Yolkspy and GN, Romania just did more than enough to take a huge lead.
But
I don't think that can possibly be.
I can't. There's no.
There's no way
can't.
that's unintentional.
I've seen it before. I've seen players shake like this before, and you know exactly who I'm talking about right now. It is possible. But what? But dude, what?
Badu?
What is happening?
Oh, well, it's fine. He put up 700k. That was more than enough. Romania are gonna be your victors. Welcome Romania to the round of 16. Welcome Romania to the Black Parade. They have taken the point. They have taken the match. They get a date with the United States for their troubles, and they get to send Norway on down to the losers bracket in a thriller of a comeback performance in those last few
That
minutes.
was amazing from them. Some interesting sections at the ending there. You had Badu and Melver kind of, you know, pulling off the cha-cha slide with their cursors for the majority of the map at the ending there. But, you know, Norway with an insane performance today overall as a team. That was absolutely amazing to force Romania onto tiebreaker. You know, even given the qualifiers performance from both of these teams here, you know, Romania's performance from last year was definitely the one to beat. And, you know, they were probably still the favorites coming into this match. And they did make it work in the ending, but not after a significant amount of stress, I imagine, having to go to tiebreaker in the ending there. Fortunately, they were able to close it, and they will be your winners to go up against none other than the United States next week. Norway will be going down to the losers bracket to face off against Malaysia. And that will be it for that match. We have half an hour, everybody, until the final match of the round of 32.
And maybe in that half an hour we can catch our collective breath after that one. My God, did that match deliver. 16 versus 17 seed. On paper, it's supposed to be close, and man, did it live up to it. That was one of the best matches we've seen this weekend. I believe only the second tiebreaker, of course. And man, I'm so happy to see the tiebreaker, and I wonder how many pick'ems did Romania just save with that win. Oh my goodness.
That probably took a couple of years off some of those players' lives. That was an insanely close match. We saw sub 100k score lines for the first couple of maps, and then we went through to Norway with a massive lead, and then a tiebreaker pullback from Romania. This is just absolutely crazy, and this is what you love to see, because if we're seeing it in the round of 32, you better bet you're going to see it in the later points of the tournament here. This is only the first round, and we still have plenty left to come. And another exciting match after this, Germany versus Turkey. Turkey qualifying in a higher spot than last year, improving on that 32nd qualifying spot and taking a point against the United States. They'll look to give Germany a little bit of trouble here on that match.
Yeah, you know, with this being such an early stage, the pool's not getting that hard yet. Those hard scaling players, the Whitecats and Dustuses and the Okinamos of the world, not really able to come into their own quite so much in this early stage. You know, Turkey took a point off of the United States. It's not beyond the realm of reason to say that they can do the same thing against Germany. It's easy to underestimate those lower seeded teams. We saw the United States already drop a point against Malaysia last night. We could see the same thing happen to Germany here again this afternoon. That match is going to be in just about half an hour, so, you know, catch your breath, grab a quick bite to eat, grab a drink, and we'll be back with you guys 18:30 UTC for the last match of the weekend before our round of 16 is fully set and the map pool showcase comes up after that.
That'll do it for us for the matches for now. Again, as you mentioned, half an hour, and we are good to go. We have been your commentators for now, Chili Repair and this one guy. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for watching. See you guys in half an hour. Hello everyone, and welcome back to OS World Cup round of 32 for 2020. We are bringing you the last match of this round, starting momentarily. It is going to be pre-tournament hype surrounding this team, Germany, taking on Turkey, last year's surprise victor of a single point over top-seeded United States, looking to repeat that performance. I am this one guy still with you today for the last match here, and I am going to be joined by none other than Monko2K for this last match of the day. Hello, Monko. How are you doing today?
Hello. I am really cold. How are you?
I am very warm, oddly enough. I'm doing quite well, so, looking forward to seeing what this Germany squad can bring to the table here for their first match with their new and improved White Cat-focused roster. I think that's all everybody's going to want to talk about, and I think I'd be interested in your thoughts on the man, the myth, the legend himself going into this tournament.
Yeah, that's pretty much the story of at least these few opening matches. Brand new players for Germany, 4 new members, or technically 4. 3, one of them is returning from 2018. But White Cat, Neox, and Smarty, all brand new talent. White Cat, of course, the #1 global player currently. And I believe this is his first badged tournament since his unban. Same for Neox.
Yeah, that is correct. This was perfect timing.
We have seen White Cat play a couple of show matches, same with Neox, but we haven't seen them play any real tournaments, at least not on ban show. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can bring to the table in these early rounds.
Yeah, I think the story of White Cat is going to be a big focus for a lot of people in this tournament. You've seen Germany performing really, really well in the last couple of years. They've been a top team 2019 and 2018. And now, the big question, will White Cat be what it takes to push them over the edge and maybe finally, assert some dominance over the other teams at the top, like the United States? But first, they've got to contend with Turkey, and this is a very early round, and this is a Turkey team that, as I said, did manage to take a point off the United States last year, who, of course, went on one of the most historic OWC runs we've ever seen. So I don't want to ignore them. They're a team that I would like to see at least get a point and make this match interesting.
Yep, and they have certainly improved since last year. They've also got 4 new members, and they've improved their seeding. They were last seed last time around. This time they're not quite last, 29th, so they are on an upwards hill. But same for Germany, moving from 6th seed last year to 4th seed this year. It looks like they are more ready this year, I would say.
Yeah, I think, they come in with some players just on absolute tears. Okinamo has looked amazing in a lot of tournaments recently. White Cat, of course, making his first appearance, as you said, in a badge tournament. You've got guys like Dust Ice, who is up there with Bubbleman and Vaxay, the kind of final bosses of OS World Cup, where they're the guys that everyone looks toward for the dominant performances. So Germany coming in very ready for this tournament, one of the pre-tournament favorites. I think one of the few teams that people consider in that SS tier up there with the United States, and some would say maybe Australia as well. And they're going to look to see, to avoid any sort of trap games. The United States lost a point last night. Germany going to try to avoid seeing that same fate happen to them. And we're going to get quickly on into the bans and picks here. And, the question for me, too, is, what do you even try to pick and ban against a team that's this well-rounded? I have no clue.
Yeah, especially in this early stage where you really can't abuse Germany's few weaknesses, if there are any at all. I think Turkey's just going to have to bet against banning their worst maps on this pool. This map pool is slightly easier than the qualifiers map pool, about 6.1 average star rating, I believe, versus 6.3 in the qualifiers. But on paper, a very difficult task for Turkey. I think they're probably, looking at their qualifier statistics, they tended to have a worse time with flow aim maps versus raw aim. And I think they're probably going to go along the lines of that for this match. Probably ban out a Nomad 2, perhaps.
Yeah, looking at this team and knowing the strengths of Germany, I think, they're good at everything, but some of those players especially known for speed and stream. So Nomad 2, Nomad 5, I think both good options to try and ban against them. To at least, you know, if you're Turkey, you're just kind of trying to put your best foot forward. So you want to at least ban out a surefire win for the other team, whatever that is. And I think it's one of those two in all likelihood. Or I could just be completely wrong and they could ban Nomad 1. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah, that is not what I expected. That was actually one of their better performances from the qualifier. But I guess going against a team like Germany, where you've got White Cat, the #1 aimer, maybe Nomad 1 is a safe ban.
White Cat is in fact just an aim player. That's
his pretty beast at aim.
He's all right at aim, I would say. Maybe decent. Like he's good enough.
Germany gonna ban TT1. That's kind of surprising for me, given they've got, you know, Dust Eyes, Rising, Okinamo, and yeah.
And they
DT2 is really good.
And they picked Nomad 3? All right, I don't know. I guess they're just flipping a coin here or something, because I didn't expect any of this. I don't know about
it's
you.
A little weird, yeah. I mean, Nomad 3 is, I guess, a flow aim map. You could call it that. I don't really know what you would call it. Alternate, flow aim.
Nomad 3 is, yeah. I mean, there's been kind of this ongoing discussion because so many players alt now of whether you can still call these alt maps, and Bowman has quite strongly advocated for just calling them flow aim maps now, so I guess maybe that's the trend we're gonna see. But people are familiar with it as alt still, so I'll probably just go with that.
Okay, well, this will be interesting to see Turkey. They did not do so great on the flow aim map in the qualifier, like I said before, but this is a little bit easier. Definitely a lot easier than the Nomad 3 in the qualifier. That thing was killing me. But nonetheless, probably going to be a difficult match to win for them. I mean, of course.
Yeah, I think if you're against a team like Germany, every map is going to be a difficult map to win.
The whole match is going to be kind of scary.
It's a mountain to climb. It's an uphill battle.
And here we have White Cat in for the first map. His first badged map. First map of a badged tournament. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he is the single most hyped player, I think, is pretty safe to say coming into this tournament. Everybody knows what he's capable of in solo. Very few know what he's capable of in tournaments, as he has been serving out his sentence for being unbanned, as not being able to play badge tournaments for the last year. So anything short of, like, you know, a 5-0 with 5 SSs from White Cat, I feel like somebody's going to be disappointed with.
Pretty much. There is a lot of expectation for him, and we'll see if he can bring that out.
I think if anybody's capable of living up to expectations like that, White Cat up there with those other guys we mentioned, the Vaxes and Bowmans and Dust Ices of the world. He has shown time and time again just how skilled he is, and so we'll get to see as we make our way into the first map here. As we said, the first badged tournament map for White Cat since it's unbanned, alongside Smarty, Okinamo, and Dust Ice. They'll be taking on Raikoho, Heironi, Egemen, and Kemsit. You know, a little less to talk about with Turkey, as their players are a little less familiar with, but some solid players on that roster who would like to put their best foot forward, as I said, in this match.
Yep, and we can see already it is getting a little bit tough for Turkey in this beginning part. Already 2 misses from Kemsit, Heironi, and there goes a third one for Egemen. Now just 1 FC remaining on the Turkish side. It is a very short map, already a quarter of the way through, and Heironi is not having the best of times yet. Meanwhile, on the other side, Germany still rocking 4-way FC, as you would expect. But yeah, this is not looking too great for Turkey.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a rough go of things for Turkey, as they have no combos at all anywhere. They're actually maybe just, you know, you mentioned they're maybe not good at flow aim, so maybe just the sort of thing they're not great at. Well, let's not look too far ahead. Maybe this is just, you know, their weakest map on this pool, and that's all there is to consider here. I'd like to put a positive spin on things for the sake of Turkey, but it's increasingly difficult when they're losing this map as one-sidedly. Germany looking good.
Yep, they have dropped 1 combo on Smarty, but still 3-way FC from White Cat Justice and Okinamo. Now coming down to the final stages of the map, and there is no question about it, Germany will win this. It's now How many FCs did Germany get?
I'm gonna go with 3. And you know what I just realized is kind of funny about this, right? Last year, United States dropping that point to Turkey. You do, of course, remember the type of map that it was on.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a little funny to see, Germany saying, hey, United States lost an alt pick to these guys, and we're going to win an alt pick against these guys a year later. That was, a 1.5 million point victory. That was kind of one-sided, I would say.
Yeah, just a little bit. Smarty, the only person to not FC on Germany. 3-way 99% from Germany, from Okinamo, Whitecat, and Dustus. Meanwhile, the Turkish side, kind of a little bit far behind. Kemsit did manage to beat out Smarty, but obviously that was not anywhere near enough. But that was Germany's pick. Not all hope is lost. Turkey now getting a chance to counter whatever Germany just threw up.
And, we saw them banning out the Nomad 1 pick, so this is probably something not too aim-focused that they'll pick, would be my guess. There's a lot of different types of maps in this pool. One thing I like about this, despite being such an early pool, is that it's pretty varied in terms of skill set. You've got alt, you've got tech, you've got reading, you've got the precision aim, you've got some speed. So whatever Turkey feels is their best option, they've got a lot to choose from for it.
It's kind of unfortunate for Turkey how the 2 maps that they did actually quite well on in the qualifier, DT4 and Nomad 1, or not DT4, DT2, sorry, they kind of fall into Germany's strongest skill sets, speed and aim. So working around that is not going to be easy for them at all. I could see them going for DT2 in this pool, but even then that is quite scary against Okinamo, Dustus, Whitecat, and Rising. Actually, they are going to go for it, so I guess I'm just wrong.
Yeah, the DT2 comes out, so, I feel like I'm just so used to saying they obviously know something I don't, but they obviously know something I don't about Turkey and speed, because Germany, I feel like, just kind of eats this type of map, like, for not just for breakfast, but like lunch, dinner, snacks. It's a 4-course meal.
Yup, pretty much here. Going to be expecting very good things from this lineup, and we're actually going to be seeing exactly who I expected to come in. Okinamo, Rising, and Dustus. It'd be nice to see Neox as well. He's been fabled as a superstar German DT player, and this would be his... Okay, that's Umbre. That's not Neox.
That's not Neox, unless, they had some really questionable name changes. That is not Neox at all.
Nope.
That's about as not Neox as it gets. Turkey, Raikoho, Egemen staying in, Mikatsu, and Kemsit. Kemsit was in before as well, I believe. Again, players that, unfortunately, it's hard to be familiar with because they're not present in as many tournaments. So not guys that I know as much about to say, oh, this dude is very good at speed. But this is their first pick, so clearly this is what they think of as their speed roster. We'll see how it goes for them. This map, of course, the longest of the DTs by 1 second, 2 minutes and 43 seconds after DT is taken into account. 247 BPM, plenty of bursts to contend with, which makes it the exact sort of thing that you would expect many of these German players to be good at that we do know a lot about and have mentioned already.
Yep, this map is pretty standard, a little bit of finger control, and not really much aim component. Perfect playground for the left hand for everyone. Yeah, this is a very scary DT roster that Germany's putting up, even against, any team in the tournament at any stage. I would be very fearful of Okinamo Dustus Rising on any DT map.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because Germany actually kind of underperformed, I think, on DT and qualifiers. They finished 13th and 8th on the DTs, respectively, which is really not what you would anticipate from a team like that, as you see their performance starting this one off with the SS on Rising and Umbre in the first couple hundred combo. I believe the top score to contend with is a 3x100 from the previous match. See if anybody can live up to that, but so far, just the break from Raikoho coming in on the side of Turkey, giving Germany a little bit of an advantage here. I think that 2 breaks, as Mikatsu finds a miss of his own. The Kiai's in this one, forcing a little bit of lag, but also forcing some more difficulty. Those streams get a little longer and a little more difficult to maintain. Like Malko said, that left hand is getting a workout on this map. aim cursor gets a little bit of a reprieve.
Oh. Just gonna call out Umbre and Rising, still holding on to the double S, but Umbre did manage to find a 100 just after the break. But still, 4-way 99% FC basically for Germany. Meanwhile, Turkey still holding on to 2 FCs of their own, with half of the map to go.
Yeah, I think, as you said, Germany has one of the scariest speed rosters in this tournament. There are not many teams that can contend with them on maps like this. And I think we're going to see that here as their lead is extending up over 400,000 points now. Still a double FC, Egemen and Kemsit, but the 4-way for Germany, I mean, what do you even do about that? Their accuracy is also good. Like, that's unstoppable.
They would still be winning by quite a wide margin, even if Turkey was still holding on to 4 full combos, and they're not. So, yeah, it's looking a little bit grim for Turkey here. We come down to the final quarter of the map. Rising still with 1x100, I believe.
Yes,
what is this man doing?
That is some speed on the side of Rising. Maybe this pick a little bit of a blunder from Turkey, but also, I mean, what do you even do against Germany? You probably are gonna feel like you're blundering in most picks against them. And there's the break from Egemen, just to make sure that things stay on the side of Germany. This is gonna be a 4-way full combo. It looks like that's gonna be score of the weekend on that map.
Wow.
It
wasn't even a bad performance from Turkey, but like, what do you do against that?
I'm sorry.
What is that?
I think that's the highest score we've seen on any map. That's 4.75 million, just about. A 4-way full combo with all over 99% accuracy. A 1x100 from Rising. Like, yeah, it's round of 32, but what do you even do against that?
Like, I'm fairly certain this score would have beaten any other team in the tournament at this stage.
Oh yeah, there's not a chance. Yeah. That
gonna be quick into No Mod 4. I don't really know how good Turkey is at tech now. I'm not really sure how good they are at any maps.
Yeah, I know that's the downside of these teams. Like, I don't know what these guys are good at. I know Germany's good at everything. I don't know what Turkey is good at. They're gonna just do their best, and that's what we can hope for. But gonna see White Cat coming back in, so.
Yeah, and actually Dust Ice taking a break for this one. Hollow Watcher coming in his place. Shout out to the Pick'ems maker.
I'd like to see some variation in the rosters. Hollow Watcher. Well, you know, I wish I had gotten some scores better, but you know, otherwise Pick'em's going okay. So thanks Hollow Watcher. This is quite the different types of maps in this one. 3 maps in, we're getting a flow aim alt pick, we're getting a speedy DT pick, and now we're getting a tech. You know, those slider aim goes burr. And kick slider streams and all that jazz, plus the 1/3. This has a lot of things going on in it, as to be expected from this song. I think that's what you always get out of maps of this song.
Pretty much. And actually, I think this one might be a good chance for Turkey to steal one if they can put up some good combos, because this is one of the maps that I believe is really easily missable just on random parts, just because there's a bunch of slider streams, some long sliders with ticks in them. And could be some places where some of the German players trip up and give a lead over to Turkey, but we'll see. Again, Turkey would need to perform better, so.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's what just kind of happens in these types of matchups. Like, the lower seeded team has to do a lot better, and the higher seeded team has to do relatively poorly by their standards. Which, well, Germany coming into this looking pretty prepared, so I don't know that that's all that likely. But as you said, if there's ever a chance for a team to steal a pick away, it's on the less standard picks. It's on the things like the tech or the alt. So, you know, maybe this will be Turkey's opportunity to increase their performance a little bit, bringing in a couple new players, Shadowa and Kanzaki. And, you know, maybe they'll perform well on this one. We'll see.
In we go. Like I said before, keep your eye out for some slider streams. Could find a couple unlucky breaks across the board on those, but also maybe not. Map is not terribly difficult in that regard, but
White Cat has missed. Ladies and gentlemen, White Cat has his first break in a badged tournament on Bancho. This is not a drill. The expectations on him could not be any higher, as we've said, but it's okay because they still have a 3-way FC, and there's a full combo reset.
Yeah, there goes, there's Turkey, gone. There's that slider stream, only one person broke on it, he didn't have a combo to begin with, but yeah.
Yeah, those
pick was good for Germany.
Those slider streams are so hard, man. If you don't tap them perfectly, you can just miss. There is a break for Hallow Watcher, but still the double FC on Okinamo and Smarty. Not a not a great time for Turkey though.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Just these little patterns here. I think White Cat broke on a slider earlier, and Hollow Watcher just missed just after that slider stream. Those misses could technically be enough to give Turkey an advantage here, but Turkey is having their own problems right now. Yeah.
Yeah, Turkey Turkey having problems on this one I think kind of sums up what's happening on this map, similarly to on the Nomad 4 pick, or Nomad 3 pick, excuse me. Like, it's just not going quite their way, unfortunately, as another couple breaks on those slider streams come in. Go to the last section here, and yeah, I don't know. Not a lot to say for Turkey, unfortunately. Germany just looking quite good, as to be expected of them.
Pretty much here. Last eighth of the map, still 2 full combos for Germany. White Cat might as well have a full combo at this point, and yep, once again, another dominant performance from Germany. Not a whole lot Turkey could have done in this case.
You do end up getting that break at the end from Okinamo, so only 1 FC on Smarty, but it is still a 1.4 million point win for the Germans. Yeah,
No
4-way
misses.
S rank. Not too bad. That's pretty good.
Yep. Meanwhile, on the Turkish side, 2 S ranks and a 1 miss from Shadowa, but not quite enough to match up to Germany. Once again, it was Germany's pick, so not that terrible, but it is getting closer and closer to match point. But they will have one more chance to try something here, and they're gonna try Hard Rock 1. I don't know about that.
I mean, I don't know about any pick, so you might as
True.
well just kind of throw caution to the wind and try something different, and we'll, maybe see how it goes. Maybe they feel good on Hard Rock. I don't know. Obviously, the speed DT didn't go super well, but maybe the Hard Rock that requires a little bit of aim and a little bit of consistency will go a little better for them.
Perhaps. They didn't do too poorly on Hard Rock in the qualifiers, actually, but of course Germany is Germany, so anything's going to be hard. But let's see. We are getting a lot of variation in the picks for this map, for this match. We've seen 2 different no mods, and now 2 different mods, DT and Hard Rock. Have not seen any hidden yet, which is actually kind of surprising to me. I was expecting Germany to use hidden. They actually did quite well on the hidden in the qualifier.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I think Hidden was one of their top mods. They finished 3rd and 5th on Hidden 1, Hidden 2 in qualifiers. So, with those, kind of typically being the slightly more gimmicky types of skill sets, often is not top teams will be very good at those. But, if they're okay with the other mods, then I guess it doesn't really matter. They probably feel like they can pick whatever and do well on it. So,
Maybe they're playing for good songs. That's possible.
But Hidden 1 is like the best song in the pool.
True.
Actually, the best song in the pool is a tiebreaker, but, that's unlikely, to say the least, in this matchup.
Yeah. I mean, still possible, technically, if Turkey goes God mode here, but, yeah, maybe not.
I'm gonna go with unlikely, but technically, as you said, strictly speaking, possible, just unlikely. So we're gonna get into the Hard Rock 1 pick here. Gonna have Hallow Watcher, Smarty, Dust Ice, and White Cat. We're taking on Raikoho, Mikatsu, Kanzaki, and Ediz Berkserbest. What is it with Turkish players and having very difficult to pronounce names? I always feel bad commentating their teams because I just don't know how to pronounce half the players.
Who knows? I mean, I guess it's mostly just him and Egemen. Those are the
Egemen
two.
Bizermis.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's right. but it's what I feel like I have to go with.
Can get.
This is a map that has played out very interestingly. A lot of times you see it's about 880 combo, and it feels like somebody breaks around 800 combo every time it's played. So we'll see if that happens again here, but first off, it's going to be the early break in the first couple hundred combo from Kinzaki, so early lead to Germany. Accuracy actually about even, but Halo Watcher, the accuracy player, 99.7%, doing his thing quite calm and cool over there on the Germany side.
Actually, scores across the board doing pretty well. The exception of Kenzaki's miss, everybody is full comboing so far, and we're already halfway through the map. This map is actually pretty awkward to aim in my experience, so it's good to see that Turkey is handling it quite well.
Yeah, they are looking really respectably good on this pick so far. As you said, other than that one break from Kinzaki, they do still have the 3 FCs intact. If Germany finds any misses, they will have the opportunity to try for a comeback here. The score gap is not insurmountable as of yet, but it will get that way sooner rather than later, the longer the 4-way keeps up for Germany.
Yeah, it's gonna take a break from Germany to give Turkey this one, and they are not looking like they want to do that. Kinzaki finding another miss.
Double break. Double break, Halo Watcher and Smarty.
Oh no, everyone's missing.
It's so
exactly what you said.
Dude, 800 combo hits and people just break. I don't know. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter because Germany did have enough of a lead, but they're going to come out with only 1 FC on White Cat in the end.
The White Cat factor. Yeah, that was almost good for Turkey. Just, if Raikoho and Mikatsu had gotten a little luckier and held combo through that, they definitely could have taken that point. And we saw in the end, only 1 FC per team. Although everybody did basically break at the same point. And that will be Germany at match point on their own pick. Looking a little scary for Turkey here. Yet to put a point on the board, but not the end of things just yet. What does Germany go for now? I'd like to see some hidden out of them.
And you're getting some hidden out of them because they obviously heard me mention hidden 1 and they have picked it for themselves.
They are playing all the mod pools this time.
Yeah, we're getting some of almost everything. No free mod, but getting no mod, hidden, hard rock, DT, all represented here today in this match. And this is my favorite song outside of the tiebreaker. It's nice. It's lighthearted. It's upbeat. It's catchy, and it is Germany's choice to try to close out this match with a clean 5-0 sweep.
And on paper, I think this is one of the strongest picks for Germany, just based off of that qualifier hidden performance, them beating out many of the higher seeded teams. But yeah, it's basically the same story for most of these maps, all of these maps really. But let's see what Turkey can do.
I think this is it's a relatively user-friendly, like as long as you're okay with hidden, it's slightly awkward, but it's like a comfortable BPM, it's a comfortable CS and AR, so it's the type of map that people can play alright. It's not like a skill check mechanics map, it's more about, you know, can you read AR9 with hidden and play some slightly awkward aim patterns. It's not like anything over the top crazy, but we said we wanted to see the Germany squad on hidden, and we are getting to see the Germany squad on hidden.
We're seeing Umbre step in place of... I actually forgot who was playing that. I think it was Smarty.
Yeah, we had on the last pick Smarty alongside White Cat, Dust Ice, and Hallow, so this one is going to be just Umbre, Okinamo, both coming in. No surprise there, Okinamo very good with hidden, as is Umbre.
Looks like Kemsit has won something out of this match, White Cat mutual.
Yo!
Congratulations.
Let's go. With Okinamo jokingly asking for a mutual. The funny thing here, of course, would be for White Cat to say no.
It's possible. Well, it was one of his last spaces when he's feeling a little... don't know what he just said.
Yeah, I don't speak German. Very unlucky. Für dich nicht? I don't know what that means. Somebody who speaks German, please translate. It is a burning question. We all want to know.
Nicht means no. So, poor Okinamo.
He said not for you. Okay.
Aww.
Not for you. That's unlucky. Poor Okinamo. Getting left out in the cold. Denied entry into the prestigious mutual list of White Cat. We're gonna get underway here. We'll see if maybe Turkey can get on the board here with what could be the last map of this match, what could be the last map of this round, in fact, of the tournament. This would be a nice place for the round to end if it has to end here. It's at least a very nice chill song and a cute little map. Toybot maps have just a nice feel to them, whereas he goes now by Vikala.
Oh, today I learned. I didn't even know that was Toybot.
Yeah. I guess I should have realized people did not know that's who that was. But yeah, Vikala is in fact Toybot.
The more you know.
You learn something new every day.
So good for both teams, really. Heironi with the miss there.
Eggman following. Yep. I don't believe anybody's going to be able to set a new top score on this map for the round. I believe that was it a 1x100 or a 2x100, I believe, is the top score on this. And Turkey, unfortunately, looking like they're going to be falling by the wayside here. Triple combo reset, just Chemsit with still the FC, but a four-way for Germany intact. Make that a three-way. Okinamo deciding to int White Cat for refusing him a spot on his mutual list. Shame on you, White Cat. You have made your teammate miss.
Oh, and there goes Chemset, and with that, that is all of Turkey's full combos off the board now. Meanwhile, Germany still going strong with the triple FC from Holowatcher, Umbre, and White Cat. And, yeah, not looking too good for Turkey. I think the dream of getting at least 1 point off of Germany is probably coming to a close here. Still have the map to go, but not looking likely that Umbre, Hollow, and White Cat are gonna do anything terrible here.
If all three of them had gotten simultaneously slow slidered on that last slider before that tiny little break, maybe Turkey would have had a chance, but that was about the only hope I think they would have had. The 1 point dream, unfortunately they will be waking up, and it is more like a nightmare as the 5-0 comes to fruition soon here for Germany by the looks of things.
Let's see if we can get some cool FCs out of this anyways. Looking promising from the trio.
Yeah, three-way. I mean, you know, Germany, mechanical skill really through the roof, so not a surprise. A little smiley face there from White Cat, and is that an L and a heart from Hallow? I don't know.
Looks like it. Don't know what that means.
Shadow typing XD, or writing, I guess. You know, this is just kind of what happens. Unfortunately, you end up being a lower-seeded team against a juggernaut powerhouse like Germany. This is kind of what happens. Umbre does drop the FC, so it will not be a three-way for Germany.
Nobody missed that.
Some small consolation.
It's actually pretty good.
Oh, Holowatcher breaking as well. Man, it's too bad those breaks didn't come like 500 combo ago.
Yeah. That had happened a lot earlier, and Turkey would actually have a decent shot of winning this, but looks like
they get no FCs!
Oh.
There will be no FCs for Germany on this pick.
Well,
it's going to be a 1 million point win, and with no FCs, I don't know what to make of that.
Well, it was enough. Anyways, Germany going to be winning this match 5-0. Moving on in the winner's bracket to face off against Indonesia, I believe.
Yeah. Indonesia in the round of 16. All our round of 16 matches, in fact, now set. Germany looking very strong in the 5-0, moving on cleanly, more cleanly than the United States, even with the 5-0 over Turkey. Germany saying anything you can do, we can do just a little bit better.
Yeah, and Turkey actually dropping down to the losers bracket to face Sweden again. They faced them last year and lost to them in the losers bracket, and looks like they're going to have a rematch this time around.
And against another very strong Sweden team. But Germany, going to be the winners, going to advance onward into, as we said, that round of 16. Looking pretty strong. I think the 4.7 million on double time number 2, I believe the single highest team score this weekend, quite possibly, of any map. I can't imagine much was higher than that.
Yeah, it'd take quite a bit to beat that score, but I'm fairly confident that was definitely the highest. But anyways, that will conclude this match, and all the matches for this weekend. That was the last one. And I believe after this will be the map pool showcase for the next round.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the exact timing for the map pool showcase, if that's going to be coming up immediately or if it'll be coming up in a little bit, so that's kind of still being determined. Don't know if we'll maybe be able to look at the bracket here to see what that round of 16 is going to look like. That would be kind of cool. But if not, we may just be signing off for the map pool showcase. Okay, I believe we're going to be going on a short break, and then we'll be back with some combination of Azer, Kano, and OMG4s for the map pool showcase. So thank you for watching the matches this weekend. That will conclude the round of 32. So congratulations to all the teams that won and advanced onward into the round of 16. Good luck to all of them, and of course to the teams in the lower bracket, of course, as well. Best of luck to them trying to survive in the losers bracket. Thank you for joining me, Monko. This was fun. Had a good time.
It was a great time.
And we will be seeing you guys on the other side with the map pool team for the showcase for the round of 16. Hope you all enjoy. Have a good one.
Thanks for watching.
Trees are leading us again. Hello everyone, welcome back. The round of 32 has been all played out. It is now time for the round of 16 map pool showcase. Today yet again, I'm Azer and I'm joined by two of the map poolers, Kano and OMG4s.
Hello, it's nice to be here again, and well, we'll have all the maps ready for you guys to watch, and hopefully you'll be surprised for what we have in store.
I'm really looking forward to revealing these maps. We've got a lot of good ones ahead of us.
As always. Quickly, before we actually get into that, I want to quickly touch on some statistics for the round of 32 pool. We have seen DT2 be the most popular map being picked at 12 picks in total, so that's Starkish. Pretty good, I think. I think that's mostly an expected result. A lot of DTs are usually commonly picked, right? So
yeah,
we've also... yeah.
DT's usually having just very easy patterns, and I mean Eurobeat and Toho. I mean Toho songs are usually like the most picked, and Eurobeat as well. You mix them together, you get this.
Yeah, oddly enough, though, the most banned map was actually DT1 Shiori at 6 bans. That's pretty interesting, actually. One of the DTs is just the most picked, and the other is the most banned.
Surprisingly, it's not area hidden this time. Usually we see that as the most banned in most of these tournament matches.
It was pretty close. Also, I didn't see Hard Rock 2 is also tied for the most banned. So they both got banned 6 times. Hidden 2 is at 5, so, you know, someone slacked. It's usually area hidden, but not this time, I suppose. It's also worth noting the Nomad Tech map Sick, the Nomad Speed map, Time Machine, and the Hidden 1 were also pretty commonly picked, both at 11 or 10 picks each. Pretty much all 4 of those with DT2s were the most popular maps of the last stage. So that's pretty interesting. The least popular would have to be DT1, I suppose, because it was banned out very often. Surprisingly, only 3 Nomad 1 picks. That's very rare.
I mean, you generally see that people who are really good at Nomad 1s don't really pick them. I mean, really good tournament teams have other avenues to take other teams on, which are the more awkward or the weirder picks, right? And you kind of just outskill them by having more players who are really good at all the skill sets. So you don't really need Nomad 1. And if you're a weaker team, you don't really want to go for Nomad 1, because if the opposing team is just way better in raw skill, I mean, you don't really go for it. You try to find a niche, which is a weakness for them.
Yeah, so with all that being said, it's time to get into the round of 16 map pool. You guys ready? Sounds good?
Yeah,
Yep.
We're ready. Oh man.
Absolutely.
Alright, let's start off strong with the Nomad 1 by Jonathan LFJ. It's going to be Namikare by Tuyu.
And you know what? I'm gonna mix it up and I give Kano the microphone for the first map.
Alright, thank you for putting me on the spot here, Forz. I really appreciate that. But yeah, this is going to be the Nomad 1 of the pool. As you know, many of these Nomad 1s usually feature a lot of comfortable aim. And that's exactly what this map tests. It does mostly comfortable aim, it features a couple of short bursts, and this is also one of the few rank maps that we'll be using this year. Overall, very, very solid map. It's pretty fun to play. I mean, this is definitely one of my favorite Nomad 1s. You know, I don't usually play a lot of aim maps, but this is something that I enjoy.
Yeah, it's not a big surprise here. It's one of the only picked maps in the entire pool, actually. And I think when Jonathan Lefche mapped this one, I think he knew what he was going to go for here, right? I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that it's that consistently difficult for this map.
I feel like it's actually kind of rare to have Nomad 1s that are pre-existing, right? Like Nomad 1 was historically one of the slots where we wanted to do custom maps more often because there's like not that many good maps for it, but no, we actually, I guess you guys ended up finding the perfect one.
Yeah, generally speaking, we do try to get them custom mapped so we can get as much consistent aim out of them as possible, but this one definitely did feel like it fit the slot very, very nicely. I mean, as you can tell from just the mapping alone, there's lots of pretty comfortable jumps all over the place. There's definitely lots of room for error, even in some of the slower sections as well. And you definitely you know, you need a decent aim requirement for this kind of thing. This is going to be a step up from the last week for sure.
Yeah, but I would probably expect this to be not that frequently picked actually. Just because similar reasons as last stage, that you would mostly see good teams just go for other mods or just auto picks.
Yeah, I have to second that as well. I think a lot of people, or a lot of teams in general, are just going to go for a lot of the niche skill sets and try and challenge the other teams on what they think they might be weak at, or perhaps what they might be strong at. And generally speaking, this is one of those skill sets which sort of fits into the category where most teams usually have a decent lineup for it, and it's like kind of a 50-50.
Yeah, and aim sometimes kind of feels random to some people. Even if you're really good at aim, it's mostly just full of one misses and really high accuracy plays. And if you get one missing, you almost like half your score, right? So it's maybe too much of a volatility, just too much RNG for some people, where if you miss on a pick which has a lot more of a spicy skill set, you tend to miss more often, and thus if you mess up once, you can still like get a really good score compared to other people. Yeah, thank you to Skill for the replay. Also, a shout out to Digital Hypno, Skill, Selk, and Uberfast for playtesting and keep getting inputs on these maps. It's really helpful. They kind of started coming in round of 32, but we're helping out quite a bit for the round of 16 map pool here, and will continue to help us until the end of the tournament.
Yeah, a lot of the work has just been pretty overwhelming, especially since, you know, both Falls and myself and Idki all have real lives to attend to and whatnot. Balancing that on top of all of this has been a pretty tough task, so it's been nice to have a couple of helping hands on the side, along with, you know, getting playtesting and feedback going. And I mean, I've had an injured shoulder for the last like month or two, so that's also been a hindrance in that process. But it's been great to have these guys on board, especially for replays as well. They've been a huge help to this team.
Yeah, it's also worth noting this was one of the few maps that were not custom. I believe there are 4 in the entire pool that aren't custom. Here's one that is custom by Silence Player. It's going to be Terrat by Aether Realm. It's a good artist to get in there.
Yeah, this is Silence Player and played by Silence Mapper. I mean, you know, just a bit of a homage. I think this is a repo by Silk. This one's 190 BPM, it is 3 minutes, and it's definitely one of the genres which is a little bit underrepresented, right? This one focuses on streams. That's the name of the game here. It's kind of in a similar way in a speed battle of last week's pool, but this one does not really have that much of a step up in raw stamina. It does have the BPM step up, so there's like a little bit of more speed requirement, but it doesn't go like all into dev streams. It focuses more on the stream aim aspect of this one, but not as like insane as you would expect on, like, for example, one of the courses maps you remember where there was a bit of an experiment. This is like a mix of a decent stamina and a stream aim pick.
Pretty much as Falls mentioned, that this is like similar in terms of stamina intensity from last week. The BPM increase with the slight stream length decrease is something that basically keeps the stamina in line, but the thing that we've gone for here mostly is to focus on the streams and the stream aim. And I think Silence Players definitely nailed a lot of that, as you can see from some of the spacing increase and decrease in certain areas. It's definitely going to require a lot more aim control on this kind of map if you want to remain consistent. So you're going to have both good tapping ability and aim on stream specifically.
Right, and the way this one kind of differentiates itself from the last week's pick is that last week's pick was actually on the easier side for the pool. This one's definitely more on the same difficulty level of the rest of the pool. So it might seem like a big step up. I think it's like an 0.4 star difference between the last week's pick and this one, which has mostly due to just the higher spacing here. And the stamina level is definitely lower. Yeah, you do see some stream shapes coming in. Second KI is just as much as the first KI, focusing a little bit more on shapes. The first KI focuses a bit more on distance, like just the distance between nodes.
Once again, we have yet another long combo map as well, so this is going to be one that you need a lot of consistency for overall, not just on streams, but consistency for long maps in general. 1800 combo is a lot to get through.
Yeah, I'm actually just quickly looking at the pool overview, and it seems like the nomads overall are pretty long.
Oh yeah, forget that, because Nomad 5 says 3 minutes, but it's actually 2 minutes. That was my fault, so it is a bit short.
Well, I guess it's a good thing to test consistency on the picks that are meant to test that. So Nomad 1 and Nomad 2 being pretty lengthy. And let's go straight into another quite lengthy map. It's going to be the alt map by PKK. It's another familiar artist, hopefully. It's going to be a song by Zutomayo.
To lead you into this one, this is going to be an alternate map which focuses heavily on some snappy aim patterns and some spaced out flow sections. This one is probably going to be perceived as one of the easier maps in the pool, mostly because of how comfortable it plays. Because PKK's mapping style is just very, very comfortable and very, very nice to play. But yeah, great song to go with it as well. As you can tell, like, you know, we're trying to make sure that we focus a little bit on song choice as well when it comes to the picking process. And I think we've really nailed it with this one specifically.
Yeah, I don't think I know a single person that would complain about a PKK alt map. It's always just really comfortable.
Yeah, you know what? He actually overshot his like star rating difficulty, and then we still had to get it buffed because it's just so comfortable. And you know, I mean, just out of the gate, PKK has been wonderful to work with, and the moment, like, this is essentially the closest to the first version we actually saw. Like, we didn't really have to do anything here. Like, PKK did all the magic for this one. Yeah, you do see some snappy patterns, some flow aim patterns for 3 minutes 50 seconds. There's something to note, which is the ending, which actually there's a small piano part which has some really weird timing. We opted to go for a consistent timing over that. Feel free to give feedback for when playing, but I think the way it is right now, it should be good enough.
I believe it was a tricky lyric section or something like that, if I recall correctly. There was something weird about this song in one part, but I mean, when you play it, it feels pretty okay. I mean, you might notice it when you're actually playing through the map, but it's very, very subtle, and I think obviously the choice that we went for here, or I guess PKK even went for, was the most optimal one.
And I think having a Sotomayor song and PK as a combo is like probably just ideal, I think. Doesn't really hurt.
Yeah, this just seems like it's really fun to play.
The last KI is just slightly larger spaced than the rest of the map. You know, intensity, mapper stuff, right? That type of jargon. We didn't really go for the, what's it called? We didn't want to just go for the distance snap on every node. So it's like consistently difficult for each pixel of the map, right? But you know, the ending is just slightly harder, so you might be able to see a few misses there, or like more chances to miss them realistically. It's very slight though. Oh yeah, also what you can see right now are the combo colors. We have enabled the combo colors because some mappers actually put a lot of thought into combo colors, and while you may not see them during the match, you will see them during the showcase.
Everybody loves a colorful showcase.
Yeah, this one also clocks in at 4 minutes.
Yeah. It's 3:50 in actual drain time. It says 3:57, but this first 7 seconds are just skip time. Also, skin looks really good with the combo colors, I have to admit.
Yeah. Alright, so that is Nomad 3 out of the way. Let's now get into the Nomad tech map, I suppose. Here's one I'm very happy to see. It's going to be a mirror tech map on a pretty old Camellia song. I think the song is like 5 or 6 years old, but I think there's been a few maps of this song already, so I think most people should know it.
Yeah, this one's Camellia song shouldn't be surprising. I mean, we did talk about song choice, and you know what? Getting a few featured artist songs in here sometimes, I don't think that's a bad idea, isn't it? I mean, look, we've got so many cool featured artists. It isn't possible on every single song, and it's also, you know, a mix of the meta willingness and, you know, the skill set we're trying to cover. But if you think about tech, we have like 170 Camellia songs, I think, in featured artists. That's insane. And I mean, here's one of them, right? It is a cut version though, it's 2 minutes because the original song is 5 minutes. Yeah, this one's tech, it's 180 BPM. As you can see, slider velocity focus. It has 1/4 snap, as you can see, the kind of double handle stream for a short second here. I would say definitely a bit better than last week's, where last week's had a bit of a aggressive focus. This one is just tech. That's what you would expect from this one.
Pretty much sums it up perfectly. You know, this map features a lot of 1/4 tech and some very, very light slider tech stuff. There's a lot of SV things going on where, you know, sliders go a little bit faster and sort of overlap over each other. There's going to be a lot of room for error on these parts specifically. But for the most part, I think Mia's really nailed this map. I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. And overall it looks pretty fun to play. And also a good challenge.
Yeah, thank you Habib for the replay. I mean, 100 Thieves Jensen, right? I mean, sorry. You know, you gotta go. I mean, he's got an assess on this, and this is not the only assess on the entire showcase. There's actually, I think, 3 assesses in total. Jesus Christ. Like, the test players are really good. Like, really, really good. Like, Digital Hypno is a pretty good player, by the way.
Alright, now rounding out the Nomad pool with the final Nomad map. It's going to be Tempestissimo by Ryusei Aika.
This map is pretty damn tough. This is a speed pick, which requires a little bit of aim control, a little bit of finger control, but yeah, clocking it at 231 BPM, this is going to be a step up from last week for sure. It features some pretty lengthy bursts as well, but it's mostly all about control on these bursts. You'll probably notice as we get further and further into the map that you're going to start seeing a lot more triples, 5 notes, and then even longer ones up to like 7, 9, and so on. It's a pretty chaotic map overall when it comes to how hard this will be to play, but Ryusei did a pretty good job. And I'm really, really satisfied with how this turned out.
Yeah, this is one of the maps which are made on short notice, because we used to have a picked Nomad 5 in there, but because of scaling issues, we we could have actually changed the map itself, but the song just didn't leave enough, you know, 1/4. So this one's the alternative here. Ryusei mapped this one in about 4 days, and you know, had a lot of changes in there, and we're pretty happy with it as well. It is exactly kind of what it has to do. There's a speed focus in there, but there's also an aim focus. So if you compare this one to Nomad 5 last week, the speed one actually had a lot less aim. This one definitely has more aim, and that is on purpose. Because on earlier stages, going for speed, it's either you go onto full speed with no aim, or if you put a little bit aim in there, it's just you have to sacrifice the speed aspect.
Yeah, there is a possibility that people might not find this one as speedy in comparison to last week, especially. Like, last week, I would say it was a little bit more bursty, but this one is definitely a little bit more focused around the control aspect for sure. And, you know, as you mentioned, with the earlier stages, you definitely don't want to overdo it when it comes to pulling these kinds of things. But I think as we get closer to quarterfinals and semifinals and things like that, we're going to have a lot more speed-heavy picks.
Oh yeah, also there's enough speed in this pool, definitely. So even if this isn't going too hard, bonkers on speed, there's enough.
Alright, well that rounds out the Nomad pool. Let's get into Hidden 1 by Tovnik. It's gonna be Finder Keepers. That's a nice name to see in the OWC.
Yeah, this is actually... yeah, let's just ignore the replay name, right? Okay, so... actually, I just stole Kano's pick, didn't I? No, actually, this is my one, so never mind. It's a hidden one. This is essentially what hidden kind of encompasses, which is a mix of skill sets. It's 160 BPM, focus on streams, highest note is double, so there's a bit of finger control. It has some few 1/6 notes in there, so there's a bit of, a little bit of speed, but generally this is more about the finger control and following the streams here. It is Finders Keepers. You should probably know the song. At least there's some really old maps of this one, but this is a modern take on that. Photopnik coming in really hot with this one. That's not the last time you're gonna see him, that's for sure, but I think this is a pretty well-made pick, I would say.
Overall, as you can see, there's a lot of really tricky elements, especially on Hidden. There's just all sorts of awkward spacing, rhythm involved, the doubles, just everything about this map is just what is hard on Hidden. And I mean, fun fact, this map went through a lot of testing. Like, it was so much harder than this originally at first, and we had to put in a fair bit of work to actually get it brought down so that it was fit for this stage. And I think overall, it turned out very good.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to see this mapper still active.
Oh yeah, he is active, and he has put a lot of thought into, just brainstorming for ideas and types of maps to put in for DVC. And there's so many things you can go for when custom mapping, which is insane. And that's kind of what we're harnessing over here with like just the amount of manpower we have and the creative process there for mappers. And Photopnik has been one who has brainstormed a lot for the picks and stuff that's open.
I mean, at this point we just have an army of strong mappers that are just willing to provide us with great maps. It's like we're blessed.
Yeah, let's not be too blessed. I mean, I'm not really up for any crusades, alright? Let's just tone it down a little bit. But yeah, this one's a kind of calm section in there. I think it's probably my favorite part of the map.
I think this map has to be one of my favorites. I mean, when I first test played it, or even when it was as hard as it was just such a fun map to play through.
Man, and if you think this map's fun, Jesus Christ, you need to see some later picks. There's some really cool maps I'm really looking forward to show off.
Alright. And now we're getting into a map that is not custom, I believe. I don't know if it's edited. I guess we'll find out soon enough. It's going to be hidden to by Devious Panda. Blood Drain.
I believe
I definitely
this one...
played this like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe this one is actually a ranked map now. At some stage it wasn't a ranked map. But yeah, this is a map which focuses heavy on a lot of pattern aim and some tricky accelerator and decelerator streams. It is just... It's an A-rate map doing A-rate things. You know how it is. But it's 190 BPM, so the density is pretty high. It's definitely going to feel a little bit harder in terms of density compared to last week. But this is a great map. I mean, I've seen this map a long time ago before it got ranked, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what, I really want to use this in a tournament. And I'm pretty sure that this has probably been sitting on the sheet for at least 3 or 6 months, maybe, however long the map has been around for.
There's so much history about this one, so we got this one in when it's unranked, and we actually talked to Devious Panda to like change it. That's the reason why it's CS 3.8 before it got ranked. And I think we adjusted something else, but like, yeah, we got this adjusted really early, and then Panda was just like, I'm gonna get this ranked, and I'm like, maybe if you keep it unranked, we could maybe adjust it, but it would probably be fine. So like, he just got it ranked, and then Corsus took it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just remembered that's what it was. We had it on the sheet for a long period of time. It was like 6 months or more, and then Corsair's ended up using it in their qualifiers pool, and we were just like, damn. obviously since it's ranked as well.
Oh yeah, it's actually same with the Nomad 1, because the Nomad 1 actually also got used. We actually had the Nomad 1, the 2U by Jonathan LFJ, also in the pool for like 6 months, the same length as this one, and both ended up being in the Corsus qualifier pool. I was just like, I mean, they're good maps, right? I don't blame them. HAT, come on, I mean, it can't be that easy to just smell out some of the EC picks.
Yeah, we're probably going to have Apraxia commenting on how this has been used in like 17 tournaments or something.
Yeah, right, that doesn't surprise me either. I mean, when I found this, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be happy about this one. I think you also randomly found it. We both just kind of sat down one day and like, I found this, hey, you found this as well? Nice, let's just put it in.
I mean, and obviously we put it in for good reason. You can just see how hard this map is in terms of some of the patterns that are going on.
Yeah, it's also a cool song, by the way. I mean, I think Sylvanas' songs have been on point. I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but feel free to correct me, Isa.
No. Pretty good.
Alright, with the Isa seal of approval here. I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, you see that pattern name coming in hot. It's definitely a mix of the stream difficulty and the pattern name. Definitely not that much of a pure stream focus as the last week pick, but the one thing I would definitely watch out for is the 190 BPM on approach 8. That's a 40 BPM increase, or like a 45, and still the same approach rate, so that's a lot more in terms of density difficulty.
And these streams are absolutely brutal. I mean, like, you think to yourself, like, damn, some of these patterns are looking pretty damn tricky, but the streams as well, all the accelerator and decelerator stuff going on and just the angles, it's just nasty on this approach rate.
Also, thank you FG Sky for the replay, by the way.
Definitely to be expected. Let's now get into the hard rocks. There's another one that isn't custom.
Another ranked one, I believe. This replay is by skill, and by the way, his zero rate on this one is 49.
What?
Yeah. I don't know what happened. He just kind of did this, and you know, it just kind of happened. Thank you, skill.
What?
Yeah, 49. He got a 1/100. Yeah. This one's the generic hard rock one. It focuses on very comfy aim, similar to Nomad 1, but also has a decent amount of streams. But definitely more of the focus of the aim aspect here. It is a OD10. Yeah, it's a hard rock map, right? You see the streams here. This is as streamy as it gets, really. And then you have the jumps here. Definitely TI focus, I would say.
This is pretty much just going to be a precision version of the Nomad 1. Testing a lot of comfortable aim and some simple streams for the most part. As you said, it's a very, very comfortable map for most players, but the hardest part will definitely be just the precision aspect of it. And remaining consistent on this kind of thing. You know, 3 minutes is pretty lengthy.
I mean, this is essentially similar to Nomad 1, where there's, it's a bit hard to like really talk about something. It is one of the rare picked maps in this pool. As you can see, we already had a lot of custom maps, and we will have more of them. Yeah, he's writing SS, but spoiler alert, he's not an SS. Sorry.
Man. Unbelievable. Oh, I got the 100 right away.
Oh yeah, true. I mean, that's just karma, isn't it?
I mean, we're already prepping ourselves for commentator curse. Let's go. But yeah, what was 49 on stable rate, did you say?
Yep, 49.
I mean, okay, sure. It's like it's an aim map, but even then, that's still impressive.
It's an aim map with a lot of streams. Like, there's a respectable amount of 1/4, right?
You've got a lot of streams in this as well. That's such an insane UR.
Yeah, it's not like no title where it's just single tap for the entire map, where it's kind of easy to get a decent save rate. Sure, it's not like a huge fin control pick with 49. I mean, alright, let's just try to focus on the pick itself, right? I mean, Kane, you've got something here? Can you help us out?
A stream section, followed by some jumps.
Nice, right? Difficulty, you see that spacing? That's a lot of spacing, right? 6.4 stars after Harvard, by the way.
I think this is definitely going to be one of the maps which will probably be picked a fair bit, because as much as a lot of teams are usually shy of Nomad 1 in the earlier stages, Hard Rock 1 is a different story, because this is precision. not many people really enjoy playing hard rock aim maps, I would say, or maybe if they do, it's more of like in tournaments. I say, I think a lot of teams would much rather play it on hard rock to, you know, prove their strength on that kind of thing, rather than playing the traditional Nomad one. So I think I can see this one being picked a lot more in comparison, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
All right. Back to some custom mapping now. Yet again, it's going to be a Devious Panda map. Oh god.
You want to pronounce that?
I mean,
you
no,
want to
no,
pronounce
not
that?
no, I'm
just
really
waiting.
don't.
I'm just waiting. Please do.
I really don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was just waiting. I was pausing for a moment. I was like, all right, is he gonna say it? But yeah, anyway, this map is the CS 6.5 of the pool. It was originally actually going to be planned as the free mod map, but we ended up having a change of plans. This one ended up being buffed a little tiny bit. We had some of the streams increased, and overall it's just, yeah, it's a pretty tricky map which features a little tiny bit of pattern aim, but mostly focuses heavy on the streams. We originally said that we wanted our 6.5 picks to focus on some pattern aim, but unfortunately we had a few overlaps in the pool, and we kind of had to change things up. But I think when we get to quarterfinals and semifinals, we might go back to our original thought process. It just really depends on how the rest of the pools do turn out. Because we sort of try to balance things accordingly across all of the pools, across all of the maps in the pool, rather than just some of the individual mods themselves. We generally try our best to stick to a plan, but sometimes we change things up a little. But for the most part, as you can see, there's a lot of space streams coming up. Some of the stacking element as well is definitely going to be something that a lot of players can miss on. And there's a light little bit of rhythm here, as you can see with some of the doubles.
Yeah, is this something you'd like to see, Aza?
No, this looks pretty good. Certainly not the name of the song.
Right, but you know what? We might have actually a specialist when it comes to pronouncing this name. Hey Walter, can you tell us how to pronounce the name?
Actually no, but yeah, I could try to say desaparecer on Spanish. So yeah, probably that.
Thank you, that is a lot better.
Yeah, that's my contribution to this. That's my contribution. Thank you.
I was going to say I would have completely butchered it if it was up to me, so
yeah,
thank you for that one.
Yeah, that's a lot better than anything I could have
I can
tried.
take the Japanese names or something, but not this one. Alright, and now for the last map that is not custom. Every single one after this one is going to be. It's going to be a very good song, very familiar song. If you've been around for a while, it's going to be Anesthesia by Vikala, or Toybot, I suppose. Oh wait, is it Mirage?
It is the Mirage.
Okay, sorry, that's the map set. This is a Mirage map.
Yep, it's a Toybot map set, but it's the Mirage map. It is, I mean, you see Mirage, you probably know what to expect, right? You see the Russian style of mapping, which focuses on pattern aim, you know, that slightly awkward aim here. And this song, I think, is also a bit of a classic, to be honest. It definitely should be recognizable.
Fact that no one cares about. This is the oldest song in my Osu files.
You know, fun
like the first map I ever added.
Fun facts with Aza. That's a fun fact. Thank you, Aza.
You're welcome.
And next to stream, or like next to aim, this actually has a fair amount of bursts, which are just there to, you know, mix it up a little bit. They aren't really the focus of the map, but they are there to just mix it up that much more, because no one really wants to single tap for like 5 minutes, right? Right, guys?
That is correct. But I mean, as you mentioned, yeah, this is going to be one of the more aim-heavy maps in the double time pool. We generally try to incorporate as much aim as we can, but it won't be over the top with aim. It's not going to be comparable to things like, you know, your Nomad 1 and your Hard Rock 1s and stuff like that. But as you can see, some of the square patterns coming in there. It also features some bursts to make sure that, you know, you still feel the speed element to it as well. It mixes things up a little bit. But overall, this map is mostly here to test some form of aim, which is mostly focused around patterns and just awkward angles and things like that.
Oh yeah, fun fact, this difficulty is actually pretty old. Like, Mirage actually has a old map set of this one. and Toybot kind of just wanted to make a map to rank something in there, and I don't know how it happened, but like Mirage just kind of had its difficulty added to it.
And the song is so nostalgic for me as well. I was going to say, like, as someone who started around like 2013, Charter was like one of the few dominant artists back then. At that time of playing, there was just so many maps.
And it's always nice to see some, you know, older songs to be repurposed or like just re-envisioned with like modern mapping. Well, Mirage might not be the, how should we call it, like, the modern mapping, right? But like, because Mirage, like the Russian style of mapping is kind of old, right? With like starting with Evil Elvis and stuff like that.
Alright, back to a bunch of custom maps now. Here's DT2 by Hypersight.
Yeah, this one is going to be a speed pick, and it is going to be a pretty damn draining one overall. This one has a lot of bursts, back to back especially. You're going to see a lot of 5-note bursts and a lot of triples. At 254 BPM, I believe, it's just going to be relentless in terms of how draining this kind of thing is. I think the speed players are probably going to like this one, but it takes a little bit of time to build up, but once it does, man, this map goes.
Yeah, this map's the speed map. This is what I would like to call the Dust Ice map. You know, it's pretty easy to like just envision a player skill set who's like niche in something. Like Hidden One is for me like an Acer map, I guess. This is like the Dust Ice map. It makes it, I guess, kind of easy to understand what we're talking about, like just to get on the same page. Yeah, this map has low aim requirement. It has mostly focus on short bursts and a few bursts in a row. It's like just not very streamy. Thank you to Hypersight for whipping this one out in short notice and all the adjustments we had to get on this one over the past few days. It was a bit stressful for everyone involved, but I think the end result is definitely something we can be happy with.
Yeah, as I had a little bit of away time this week, this was one of the maps that I sort of came back to, and I was quite surprised. I mean, it turned out pretty good, especially considering the time frame and the amount of changes and work that went into it. And on top of that, I mean, it is a great speed pick. You can see already just like how many short bursts you've got back to back. Players are really going to be need to be on top of their game for this kind of map. It doesn't really have that much of an aim requirement, but there are some patterns that you could definitely miss on. But that is pretty much what the speed picks are here for, you know, you just focus pretty much solely on speed, making sure things feel fast and tricky. Also, thank you to Tony for the replay.
Yeah, also Hypersight is an elite mapper, and so, you know, by association, this will be an elite map.
Moving on now to the last DT, it's going to be a DT by Ice Cult. The good old Ice Cult Necrobot Master, probably not fitting in the slot that you'd normally see him in, but this works.
Right, yeah, I mean, Ice Cults, I was looking for more Thing Control mappers because things didn't really exist in the level and way we wanted it to be. And we got just Ice Cold on board and he was like, yeah, I want to do a Thing Control DT, I like those. So yeah, this is a Thing Control DT. Thing Control DT, this one focusing a lot more than the last week one on the actual Thing Control part of the, you know, the Thing Control DT. It doesn't have as many like longer streams. It's mostly focused on a lot of doubles and the question marks. Right?
Question mark sliders.
I mean, it's very important, you know. If you want to spam question mark pings on your teammates, this is the part to do it. Use your smoke tool for that one.
I gotta be honest, like, when you hear that sound in a song, I think a question mark is very justified to be mapped there, you know? Like, how do you map that?
Yeah, you can see a lot of variable stream lengths, which drain stamina quite considerably, so you need decent base level stamina for this. A little bit of aim control, you do have to aim some of these doubles properly.
Fours mentioned, there is a very, very light aim control element. This map used to have a lot more of that, but we definitely got it tuned down a little bit because we mostly wanted to focus on finger control for a round of 16. We didn't want to overdo things and have both aim control and finger control side by side. And I mean, obviously, I think we've nailed Ice Colt has nailed the finger control aspect with all the doubles and quads and just all sorts of things that you need for this map. It's definitely going to be a bit of a stamina drainer for some people. I mean, this BPM is pretty tough to have good finger control, and it's around 210. So I think this is going to be a solid difficulty level for round of 16, and I believe this will probably be a map that a lot of teams will go for in terms of niche skill sets. We might even see it be a high priority for bans too.
Yeah, this definitely seems like one of the harder maps, at least presented so far. It requires a bit of expertise at that specific thing. Let's get into free mods now. It's going to be Instinct by Secuzio, mapped by Zelq.
Man, this map has to be one of my favorite in the entire pool. Like, this is just insane how good this turned out to be, because there's just so much pattern aim. There's some tricky streams. This basically has like everything you could possibly ask for to challenge people on a CS5 Air 8 map in free mod. It's going to be one of the maps which you could probably see some teams going with like a gigantic Hard Rock roster, especially if they don't have players who feel comfortable playing this on Air 8. But for the most part, this map is really, really nice. There's just, you know, a lot of flow aim patterns, a lot of tricky streams, and I mean, on Hard Rock CS 6.5, this is a precision battle. You need very, very good aim for this kind of thing. So I think it tests both mods very, very well.
Yeah, shoutouts to Corsairs for actually, you know, training some of these mappers here, like Panda and Zelq. And I'm just gonna, you know, pick the right fruits here. Like the mappers have practiced enough in Corsairs. I'm just stealing them. And you know, I think this is a really cool map.
Yeah, this looks really fun.
I think it's also one of those things where like the song really, really fits the map to me. Like this just feels like the combination of both is just really, really well done.
Yeah, as you can see, this is CS5 approach at 8.3, so not quite 8.0. There's definitely something which was missing from last week's poll, which focused a bit more on the push at 9 flat density, so like get that going. But that was mostly due to last week's both free mods being picked. This one being custom, we have a bit more of choice when it comes to the values here.
Here's an absolute banger as the last free mod of the pool. It's going to be Endymion by Real Lazy. I believe it's a collab with Asilica as well. God, this song is so good.
I mean, this song is good. I mean, so far I think the songs have been pretty on point, right?
Yeah.
This is the first map by Asilica, and you know, the second one kind of by Real Lazy because this is a collab. Mostly initiated by Asilica. Yeah, this is 220 BPM. You see the burst here. I think the Nomad 5 of last week reminds you the most of this one, but this one has a lot more aim focus and has a short 1/3 section, which you have to pay attention to a little bit. This is also CS3, which is really big. So that's the way to balance this free mod, is by having bigger circles to make Hard Rock and Tail feel a little bit closer, because Hard Rock actually multiplies the circle size, and the higher the number, you know, the higher the multiplied number will be as well. So getting CS3, this is essentially like CS4 on Hard Rock. So that's completely fine for the Hard Rock piece.
Pretty much as you mentioned, yeah, this is going to feel like home for a lot of people when it comes to placing Hard Rock on in terms of that circle size, because, you know, I would say CS4 is probably one of the most common values that you see in mapping these days. And when it comes to this map on Hard Rock, the main difficulty comes from a lot of the aim and the accuracy aspect. Overall, the map is mostly difficult in terms of its speed, but as you can see, some of these patterns are quite tricky, and you have to realize that this map is AR 9.3 on 220 BPM. That is going to require some pretty decent reading skill for both Nomad and Hidden especially. Some of these patterns as well, just the way the streams sort of like stack into themselves and have a little bit of spacing, and here is the 1/3 section. things like this are going to be quite a challenge for both of these mods. But I think this is going to be one of the free mods which you won't really see many teams over-modding unless they feel very, very confident. But overall, very solid map. And thank you to Mod Advantage for the replay.
Alright, it is tiebreaker time with a familiar diff name. It's going to be a map by Captain One and Jonathan LFJ on Mirami Pop Aya.
I mean, this is a great song, and you've got two great mappers collabing here. It is going to be a consistency map, which focuses on a mix between aim and some stream sections. It is pretty much the main thing that you want a tiebreaker to do. You know, you want it to break the tie on something that I would say is very, very common in this game. A lot of people have the ability to aim, a lot of people have the ability to stream, and this map is going to be the true test of that.
Alright, let's talk about the important thing, which is the replay player's name here, which is Type Toy less than 3 if you miss him. Shoutouts to Toy, wonderful guy. He's not dead or anything, but you know, he's just not present right now in the commentator booth and playing for the USA team. But yeah, let's get back to the tiebreaker, which is, you know, that's an SS play by the way, by Habib, so that's pretty good. This one's pretty long, focuses on the aim aspect and a mix of streams as well. Essentially things that are very present in all of the pools, and I think this is a bit more in line of what people would expect of a tiebreaker. The tiebreaker last week was definitely an interesting one. Something, you know, I even wasn't sure after it being completed, but it ended up being pretty cool actually. This is more in line with what you would expect. No like weird timing funkiness. It is mostly about the raw skill aspect rather than being able to adjust your timing properly and having a lot of varied sections of the map.
Yeah, it's definitely safe to say that last week's tiebreaker was a case of like the chaotic evil, whereas this is probably more a case of like chaotic good in some sort of way.
Yeah, yes, it's Captain and Jonathan LFJ. That's pretty chaotic good, yeah, I would say so.
But yeah, in comparison to last week, we definitely have gone with something a little bit more simplistic, but still pretty difficult overall.
It's pretty much what you'd expect from a song like this, right?
Yeah, and if you've noticed, we actually do have the same mapper twice or like 1.5 times in a pool. This is because there's a lot of issues with like availability, level of skill sets some mappers can map. And the rule I'm definitely going for, like it used to be an unofficial rule that you don't have the same mapper twice in a single pool. The one rule I will definitely follow here is not having two custom maps of the same mapper in one pool. There might be a little bit overlap with like one picked and one custom map, which won't happen that often actually, because you know, just the lack of the picked maps won't really allow for that. But yeah, there will be a few overlaps here and there. I mean, for example, there's a collab between Jonathan LFJ and Captain here. There's like half each, and Jonathan LFJ has a picked map on number 1. It's like 1.5 times the kind of presence of a mapper, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, I want to say as well, thank you to all the mappers who have been really like helping out when it comes to all of these maps. I mean, we tried our best to look for as many things as possible and kind of realized that there just wasn't much out there. So having everyone get on board and assist with this process has definitely been making it really nice, and you know, adapting to our schedules and their schedules. It's been a very interesting and new experience, but it's been a fun learning experience.
It's been a stressful experience. Let's be honest.
A mix between fun and it's stressful though. I mean, like it's fun when you see like the end products and what comes from it, but stressful in terms of just, you know, all the time management between like IRL and, you know, trying to balance like contacting so many mappers. Like I think there's over 50, 60, 70, something like that individual mappers. There's a lot more custom to come this year.
And if it's for the better or the worse, that's for you guys to decide, judging from the end product, right?
This round seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually fun to like actually be able to envision the way you would expect a pool to go and to want to be, while not taking too many compromises. Sure, you're still taking compromises, but a lot less as a mapper, as a map holder, right? Like usually you take compromises where you actually think you're probably just taking a big L rather than a compromise. While here you're taking some fairly healthy compromises. Sure, sometimes the song choice would not be something you would like to have, but that is completely okay. As long as the map kind of fits of what it has to achieve, that's good enough for me. Also, shout out to Habib who got this replay like 3 hours ago. Thank you.
Incredible consistency, man. SS on a tiebreaker, which is like 5 minutes long? 6 minutes long, actually, sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, rookie mistake.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, actually.
Fun fact, we actually do have a few changes on some of the maps compared to the showcase. Nothing too big. Like this one's actually Project 9.5 and OD 9.2 after the changes. Like just a few changes like that, nothing too big. This is probably the most, I don't know, essential one for this map, I guess. But we'll try to get the maps into your guys' hand as soon as possible, getting stuff updated and uploaded. And for the player side, I will be handling the links as soon as possible. We'll get it to Walter also as soon as possible. And he will probably update the map pool then whenever it's possible.
Yeah, you can probably expect these things to be available within the next 24 hours or so, but hopefully sooner. So
that's a beautiful, exactly 1 million points. My OCD is cured here.
Yeah, it's just so clean, so fresh on such a great map too.
Yeah, for once it's not like 1,000,001 or something. That happens a lot for some reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, that will be it for the round of 16 map pool showcase. Thank you everyone for joining us. You'll get to see all your favorite players and all your favorite teams perform on this pool on the next weekend. Any closing thoughts, guys?
This is not the last time you're gonna hear from us, and this is not gonna be the last time you will hear us complain about the stress, but I hope the stress is worth it and you guys will enjoy the map pool.
Yeah, pretty much what Force said, and to add to that, just I hope that you guys enjoy the map pool, and I hope that the teams have a lot of fun playing against each other in these matches with this map pool.
Alright, well, with that being said, thank you so much for joining us this weekend. Round of 32 is now over, and yeah, it's time for some more exciting matches. Be sure to tune in next week, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.
Drop it.